Hello, chat. Hello. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to another Ninja Gato interview. Today, I have a very special guest, my Latina guild friend, Pink
Hi,
Fairy
guys.
Blossom. One second.
Hi. Hello,
There
everybody.
she
Thank you for
is.
having
There
me.
she is. Hello. Hello, Pink Fairy Blossom. How are you today?
I'm very good. How are you? How is everybody in the chat? I
I'm
hope you're all
doing
having a
good.
good day.
Yeah. We're having a great day. We're having a great day. All right, so there we go. Hello. Thank you for the applause,
I love it.
Parasira.
I love it.
So the first question we usually ask the guest is the lore behind the name. Can you tell us how you came up with the name for your channel?
Yes. So, Pink Fairy Blossom, it's actually something that goes deep within like my high school years.
Mhm.
I've always since I was a child, I've been super obsessed with everything that's fae, everything that's fairy like, everything that falls under the fairy core aesthetic. To the point that even in my 15th birthday, mi quinceañero, I
Mhm.
actually had it. It was a party of a fairy party. All the little girls that were coming out in it, they had their little wings, and everybody knows me. When they think about fairies, they're like, "Yeah, that's Chai."
Shy.
So when I was setting everything up, I'm like, you know what? I want, something to fall under to what really means something to me and also means something to the community. So that's why Pink Fairy Blossom, but also the community is called as well as the garden. So everybody blooms and everything happens within its community so we could all feel together and feel
Mm.
as a little safe space. So that's why I ended up Pink Fairy Blossom because also everything, I don't know if you've noticed, everything's pink.
That's a lot of pink.
Everything.
That is a lot of pink.
I've always been known the girl that is like with pink. Even when I was in high school, I was the girl with the pink flip phone. Everybody knew that, and that was like a big deal.
Mm.
So, pink fairy and literally everything that has to do with flowers, blossoms. I have it all over my stream. Everything that's with
Mm.
flowers. My main favorite flower is cherry blossoms. So, I kind of made a mix of that. I made, let's pink fairy blossom just fit. And I didn't, at first, I was like, maybe it's a little too long, but I'm like, but that's like the perfect essence of who I am. So I'm like, I'm just
Mm.
going to be pink fairy blossom.
There you go. There you go. And then how did that shrink down to chai?
Chai. So my name is Cheyenne.
Cheyenne.
And yes, my full name is Cheyenne. And a lot of people have always called me Shy or they call me Shaya. So that's just been a nickname I've been known since ever. So mostly Shy is like lots of people that know me personally, they call me that. But I'm so used to being called that. So I always say if you prefer to call me Pink Fairy or Pink Fairy or just Blossom, or you could call me Chai, whichever you feel comfortable with calling me, I'm good with it. It could be any of those.
Mm. That's awesome. Very flexible. Very
Yes.
nice. All right. So the next thing I usually do is I shout out the guests, but do you happen to have my stream open? Are you able to look at
Yes.
my stream? So let
Yes,
me.
I do.
So um my shout out module is going to play a random clip from your channel, and you're going to have to explain what we're looking at.
All right.
So,
Let
are you?
me give me a second because I'm like restarting it right now. Give me a moment.
That's
Give me a
okay.
moment because it was kind of like on another platform. There we go. I got it here. All right.
Mm-hmm. All
Let's
right.
see.
Let's see what comes up. Let's see what comes up. No clip today. And what?
Oh, what?
No. Do you not have any clips that are under like 15 seconds? Let me try it again. Scammed.
I have so many clips though.
You have so many clips. Man, I gotta make you one that's under 15 seconds. They must be longer. Okay. That's
Yeah, they're
okay.
probably a little longer. It could be that.
Alright, so I'm gonna do. Alright, I'm gonna say follow this streamer. Right. Yeah, I'm gonna pin your channel so none of my community has any excuse why they're not following you. There you go. There you go. Alright. I hit chat. So I'm gonna manually unpin this at the end of stream. Okay. Alright, so the next question I usually ask the guest is the hardware and software necessary to run their stream So can you tell us all the hardware you use to operate your stream, including your peripherals, and then we'll go into software after that.
Yeah, so basically my hardware I use a lot. I'm just directly with a PC, but I do use a NVIDIA. I don't remember the exact number, but this was actually something that I had to save up for a very long time, even when I was like starting to stream, because like I'm saying, I've only been streaming for just a year.
Mm-hmm.
So when I actually started streaming, that's when I was like, you know what, this is like, I have to get more into it because I actually had it built directly, and I actually had my husband help me, and we set it up and built it. But the one that's like knows all of the aspects directly with the PC is my husband, because like I did say, I'm more of like the social one. I'm always the one that talks, but knowing the exact numbers and the type of PC would be. But yeah, he said it in the chat. It's an NVIDIA GeForce.
Okay, so
and I usually
a gaming
for
PC?
my camera, I do use a face cam El Gato. Funny that was literally El Gato. So.
Yep. Okay, so you built your own gaming PC, okay, and
Yes.
then you have an Elgato camera. What about the microphone? What are you using for a microphone?
Yes. So the microphone, this was actually gifted to me.
Oh,
and
nice.
yes, it was gifted to me because and it's wild because it was actually somebody from the Latin Twitch guild that we're in, and they were actually doing this giveaway for Christmas. I actually, before this, I didn't have a very good quality mic, and she went and said like, hey, like, what, like, I'm doing this giveaway, we're setting everything up here, I don't know if you want to be a part of it, because it wasn't just the mic, it was also a couple of other stuff that was like for specs for streaming. And I'm like, hey, why not, that doesn't kill anybody, just try, right? Because usually I don't win any of those things, so I'm like, you know what, I'll try, let's do it, whatever. And I won it. She just sent me the message like, oh my god, you're the one that won the mic.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm like, what, excuse me, what, wait a minute. And when I got that I don't know why, I feel like I was very lucky because that was literally before the end of 2024 that we got that. And I was like, okay, wait a minute, I got very nervous. And after that it got here, she actually ordered it on Amazon for me. Let me give you the exact name because this is like the updated version. There was another version that looks similar to this, but let me give you the exact name of the mic that I'm using. I have it here, give me one moment. But yeah, basically, it was a gift. And I couldn't believe it, really. I was like, all right, so, you know, something that really gets to me is that I feel like I wasn't going to win anything, but I was lucky enough. You know, you can never say never because it actually happened to me. And I wasn't expecting it, so that was like a big deal for me. Okay.
And you also look like you got some fancy headphones too.
Yes. So the headphones itself, I've actually had these for a while. And give me a minute. I'm actually looking for the mic really quick because I have so much. I have so many things on my phone that in a day, like, it gets lost in all the pictures and stuff that I get. But I think I'm at that to get to it.
Ultimation! Thank you so much for the raid, Ultimation.
Woo!
We got a raid. Raiders.
Welcome, Raiders. Hi.
Ultimation, we are interviewing my Puerto Rican friend from the Latin Guild, Pinkfairyblossom, also known as Chai. So you guys are welcome to say hello to Chai. Thank you so much for the raid, Ulti. How are you? I'm gonna shout you out. Chai, have you ever done GTA RP? Have you ever done that?
I have not.
Have you watched streamers that do GTA RP? Buenos tardes.
Yes, I actually have a friend that does it. She's actually given me. She's actually invited me to do a couple of that. So like, but I haven't played it though. But I actually want to because it looks fun.
Yeah, my friend here, Ultimation, actually he has his own server.
Ooh.
So if you're ever interested, or anybody from Chai's community in joining a up and coming RP server, follow Ultimation ZZZ, and then you can join the Narrative RP GTA RP server. So I've actually done it. I think I've done one, maybe two streams of GTA RP. It's interesting. It's fun. And this coming Friday, he's doing a zombie event in which the entire server is going to be overcome by zombies. So if you've ever wanted to
Oh,
experience a zombie survival event, that is happening on the Narrative RP server. So if you guys are
that is
interested, go
amazing.
follow
I'm still gonna give him
Ultimation.
a follow.
Yeah, go follow him. Go hang out with him. So, the mic is a HyperX Quadcast.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
HyperX
And
Quadcast.
my headset is a Logitech. And actually, there's a different. I actually was thinking, because I kind of got like mixed, because they have some really good headsets, Logitech,
Mm-hmm.
and but I was kind of mixed to getting this specific one. There was another one that specifically it looks really comfortable for streamers, but the reason why I got this one is because this one has this little strand that's right here, if you see it. It is
Okay.
very comfortable, and it actually helps a lot for like lots of people that play a lot, they game a lot, or specifically streamers. But I was literally mixed in between this one or I don't remember the name of the other that I was like kind of getting stuck with, but
Mm,
yeah, it's a Logitech. This is, I do want to think I might upgrade to the other one, but I just love this one so much because it's the comfort that it brings. You know what I mean?
mhm.
There's times that I'm streaming and I'm here for so long that there's a lot of people that they say that saying that, gamers that do the streaming and they have a headset, it
The
actually
head
gives them a
dent.
bump.
The head dent. Yep.
Yes. And I feel like this one avoids that for you because it has
Mm,
this, and it's really comfortable. It actually it's kind of cushiony, so it's really nice. Let me
mm.
give me a second here. But if you want to look for really good, really good headsets, Logitech is at least the ones I recommend because they kind of purposely look for the comfort of the streamer, you know what I mean? Or just the
Mhm.
gamer. It doesn't have to be just streams. People that game a lot that use headsets, to me, in my opinion, that's just something that, it has to be comfort, not just the quality. It has to be
Mhm.
also a mix of the quality and comfort. And I love that.
Mhm.
I love that about them, really.
Yep, and mild mannered said I like the headset attachments. Yeah, you went out of your way to
Yes.
adorn your headset.
Yes. So actually, these little trinkets that are on my headset, they're actually I'm affiliated with a store. It's a shop
Mm.
called Trinket Sorceress. And I'm a
Mm.
Starshine ambassador for them. So they actually make these cute little trinkets that are specifically for any type of headset. You could put them any type of color you want. You could actually ask them specifically if you want to make any custom ones, any idea that you like. They make it
Mm.
for you. And I love them. I actually got these wings so it
Mm.
can like fall under the fairy aesthetic. So I was like, no, I want something that falls under the colors of my stream and also the fairy aesthetic. So she actually made these specific for me and painted them. I don't know if you could kind of see it. They do have glitter as
Mm.
well. They kind of
Oh,
have glitter
nice.
there,
Oh,
but you can,
nice.
yeah. They actually were painted, hand painted by her. So
Oh, wow, they're handmade. They're handmade.
yes, yep. And there are the Logitech Pro X wireless. So I actually wanted them to be wireless because I'm also really touchy
Mm.
with specific headsets that have too much wires. Me specifically, because I have a lot of hairstyles. I do a lot of stuff with my hair and my looks.
Mhm.
It gets uncomfortable if it has way too many like wires. It's just not comfortable for
You feel
a
tied
streamer
down.
just to move around. Yeah.
Okay, you move a lot. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, very nice. Very nice. So you got a HyperX Logitech headset and then HyperX mic, a NVIDIA gaming PC that you guys built. Any
Yes.
like stream decks or any other peripherals you use for your stream?
So yeah, at least you know what's funny talking about that. I actually have a stream deck directly, but I don't know if I could show it to you. But it's actually right here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's actually from Log. Well, it's actually from. Oop, I pushed something. I didn't want to mess it up. Okay, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But on our end here, I have actually a stream deck that is from Elgato. So
Yep.
I mix with Logitech and Elgato a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but the one I have is I think it's Elgato Plus. It actually has the screen at the bottom. I wish I could show you,
I got you.
but yeah, I love that one so much. The reason why I got that one is because it actually has the double screen right at the bottom, and you could actually play with the audio there. I have a lot of things connected with my stream there. So like if I want to throw a raid or if I'm trying to like set something up, if I want to start the stream, everything is from that stream deck that I have set there.
Mm-hmm.
So And it's actually, it fits the aesthetic. I actually got it. I got the white version, so it fits with my Nook.
Very nice, very nice.
I'm a lot with the aesthetic, so.
Okay, okay. All right, and then software. What is the software required to operate your stream?
So the software itself, my husband's gonna have to.
That's okay.
He's the one that sets that up for me. But what I use directly for streaming is just OBS.
OBS.
I do use a little bit of peripherals with directly with OBS, not just OBS, but we, let's say, for example, use for like everything that's just set. Oh, thank you. PFB has a 50% off code with Blossom. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, so I need to explain something. If you see a chat from AI, that is a bot, an AI bot in my channel.
Okay, so is the Ultimations the bot?
If you see AI, it's a bot, and it uses AI to chat.
Okay, got it.
And it will listen to what we're talking about and chime in.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, but I love that. That's amazing. See, so this is what I'm saying. So like I'm learning because like I did say, this is literally just the first year of my streaming journey. And I feel like I've learned so much because before, even when I was streaming, just starting, there was so much I did not understand. Like there was so many things. I was like, wow. There's like so many aspects of it just for the social media, the networking, also the tech. Like there were so many things. Like if I were just by myself, I feel like I'd be so like overstimulated with everything. Yeah. Overwhelmed, overstimulated with everything. And I'd be like, oh my God. But like I'm thankful that, you know, I have my husband. He's also my mod. And he actually like checks everything and sets up because he actually used to work a lot of tech before. He actually studied working for different types of channels on the island of Puerto Rico. So he actually studied into that. So he understands a lot of it. So when we're processing, at least updating to different things, talking about OBS, something like I do is it's like my main source of how I use my streaming channel. But there's sometimes that it does frustrate me to the point that when there's updates, it just disconnects everything. And that's something I've had to get used to before even starting any type of stream. I have to check it out. We have to like double check everything because even any type of update that it happens, it just goes and disconnects at least the stream elements that I use. Yep. I literally have specific sound bots that when they use my channel points, it just connects. But there's been many times that they just disconnect out of the blue. And when we've known it's like the direct source is just OBS disconnecting them. So that's just something that like I have like a good and a bad relationship with OBS.
Yep. No, it tells a story because with Facecam streaming, a lot of times like it's just OBS. A lot of Facecam streamers, it's just OBS, which is a blessing in the sense that there's less to troubleshoot. I know I've interviewed a streamer that had like 6 different softwares that all had to work simultaneously.
Whoa.
And like, sometimes it takes like half an hour to get their stream started. So there's pluses and minuses.
Yep. At least for me, like it could take like 30 minutes for us to like set everything up because we're just like when we set everything up, we're just double checking to see if everything's connected. I even also have an AI bot that's set that people could put just TTS on the chat. They could put anything randomly within their channel points and just have that on the chat. And it makes things fun. It makes things, you know, a little bit more catchy. And I love it because there's times that I'm just like straight in the game and somebody just says something random. But, you know, those type of add-ons is what I like to incorporate in the streams. But mostly in source is just OBS. That's directly what I use.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And then let's catch the communities up. So you and I met because we're part of the Latin Guild.
Yes.
And what inspired you to like come into my chat and say hello that one day? Is it just that you're like cat gato?
It was that, but also because the fact that when I actually recently had got into the guild, I was checking everybody out. I'm a person, I like checking everybody. If I'm in a community or if I'm in a group, even just normally when I'm like free in time, I just try to like check everybody out when I have the time.
Mhm.
And your channel specifically caught my attention so much, obviously, because you're a cat,
Mhm.
but because I wanted to see like what was the type of streams you were doing. So,
Mm.
and I'm like, I love this. I love the fact because I was so used to at least seeing many tubers that they're just a different type of a creature that they prefer that they created, or a person or a character that they created. But I had not seen a cat. So I was like, wait a minute, no, I gotta check them out.
Yes, yes. And very nice. Well, I'm happy you came over
Yes.
and said hello from the Latin
Yes.
Guild. So I am Latino in heritage, and you are as well. Where are you from,
Yes.
if you can tell my community?
So at least where I'm from, so I was born and raised in New York, but
Okay.
I currently live in Puerto Rico. So the reason why, because I lived there for years in New York, but my
Mhm.
family, I'm actually Puerto Rican and Dominican, but I actually moved all the way from Puerto Rico because my family decided to move after 9/11 happened. They felt like it was a lot more safer to be over here. So we moved over here. It was also because my father was given a very good opportunity to work on the island. So my mom also
Mm.
thought that it would be best to have a backyard for her kids because we lived in the city. So it was, we lived in a building that we didn't have a backyard. We didn't have anything, to just run around and have fun, jump on trees. And she wanted us to have a good childhood and actually have that experience. So they decided to move over here to Puerto Rico. And yes, I'm a reverse New Yorican,
Mhm. Very
but it was a
nice.
nice, it was a nice experience. It was, what was wild about it was that obviously when I lived in New York, I understood Spanish, but at first I didn't know how to speak it. So when we moved over here in Puerto Rico, I basically had to learn Spanish by myself. I literally
Yep.
pushed myself because they took me to an actual school that it was just all Spanish. So I basically pushed myself to actually learn it, and in 6 months I learned it completely. I was probably like in fifth grade when that happened.
Mm.
So it was really, really amazing. I couldn't expect that, at least a child, you know, would have the interest on having to just learn a language that quick. And I loved it. So when I moved over here, I learned it. There's still at least when I was growing up, there was still a little bit of things that I wouldn't know how to like mention or talk. But for the years, I would like get better at it. And now I'm full bilingual. Like I speak Spanish y hablo español normal.
Mhm.
So yeah, but it took a while. It really did.
All right. So you are Puerto Rican American. Oh, and now you're in Puerto Rico. So
Yes.
very nice. Very nice.
And it's really nice though. Like I live in Toa Baja, Puerto Rico. I even have, I don't know if you could kind of see it. Let me see if I can move it a little up here.
Mhm.
But I have this little plate right up here that says Toa Baja, Puerto Rico, Isla del Encanto. And it's kind of like showing like, a little bit of heritage where I come from, where I'm from, the little island. I'm in the north side of the island. So they
Mm.
actually made this for me. They painted it and made it so cute. It's an actual, this actually used, it's made out of metal. So they actually painted it and put all the information there, painted it from where my city is. So it means that little plaque means a lot to me.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, now everybody knows how we met
Yes.
and how we're connected. So let's get into it. Can you tell us about your journey into streaming and how you got started?
Of course. So at least when I started, I used to be in a gaming podcast. This was back in 2020.
Mhm.
And actually, that was something that was an experience. I was the only girl in the group. There was a podcast, all the rest were men. So there was a lot of stuff that were instances. They actually had me because I know a lot about games. I've been gaming since I was a child, since I remember. I grew up with playing games because of my father, and I've always loved it. It's something I see it more like a safe space. So they knew that I was a really knowledgeable within different types of titles. So they invited me to be a part of that gaming podcast. But I ended up leaving because there were some discrepancies happening. I didn't feel comfortable there. And I could be honest with you, I did hit like a curve of depression because I felt like I was
Oh my.
finally doing something I liked. But then because what happened, I wasn't feeling so good. I ended up leaving. And it was for my own good because there were things that were not going so well there. So I was like, I need to
Mm.
protect myself, my own safe space. So I left. And my best friend, who's also in the chat, Koki Konghelao, my other best friend, also a streamer, Her name's Maui Masu. They actually sent me the information to like, Shai, we want you to actually go forward with streaming. We feel like you could do it, because they would hear my podcast and they were like, okay, you're really knowledgeable, but you're also very social. This fits you well. So I was like, at first I was like, I don't dare. I don't dare. I was like, okay, so like, I'm scared. I like I did say I hit like a curve of depression. So at first I didn't dare. Everybody was telling me I should do it. So it was like behind my mind for a little bit. This was back in 2020. Fast forward to 2023, because I already was like kind of accepting the fact that I was going to do it. I actually went forward and I was like, you know what? Let me start having everything saved up. Let me start making this nook. And I want to, have a little area for myself, just playing games, having fun. And literally, as soon as I started, not even 7 days, like literally in 7 days, I hit affiliate with my channel, which was
nice.
amazing. I was not expecting that. It was a lot of support, and I literally cried on stream. Like, I couldn't believe it. I got a lot of support for that, and it was a really nice experience. Like, I felt that, the love of the streaming community, like I was actually being accepted somewhere. So it meant a lot to me when I started. And here we are today. Like, we're called The Garden, and here's my little garden nook. Till this day, like, I always try to be that safe space so people could feel, they could just chill with me and just vibe and just talk and, be ourselves, not feeling judged anywhere. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's too much judgment in the world. And, a lot of people tend to like throw that out to people. And I feel like we need less of that and more less
True.
judgment and more love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me ask you, what inspired you to choose your streaming persona as a fairy?
Yes. So this also goes back right to where, I've always been surrounded by fairy core aesthetic. I've always loved them. And everybody sees me, they're like, yeah, anything that's fairy related is Chai. And they would always send this stuff to me. So I wanted to like fall under my channel that, like I did say, anything that would go for me, anything that makes it look, that explains and describes me, that's exactly what I wanted to show. And also, my wedding was also a fairy party. It was literally a
nice.
wedding. It was fairy core. Yeah, it was all fantasy. Everybody, even the people that were invited, they were dressed however they wanted. There were people that were dressed as knights. There were people that were dressed as different creatures. It was amazing. Like, it was lovely. So it's like, since ever, my quinceañero, my wedding, it's always been around.
Interesting.
And I actually loved it, so it was great.
Yep. And I did learn you do have an active connection to the Twitch community. In fact, I saw that you're part of the Kindness Ambassador team.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what made you want to be part of the Kindness Ambassador team? And can you explain the Kindness Ambassador team to the chat that may not be familiar with it?
Exactly. So the Kindness Ambassadors is actually a group, and it's a community of people that were picked to be a part of the mental wellness app that is called Kinder World. So you could actually check that out. The app is available for iOS and Android as well. And it basically is sharing information as a community and as ambassadors with just sharing kindness, being kind to people. Also, just showing and promoting how love and non-judgment could be able to like assist and make things a little better for everybody. And specifically, I'm actually directly partnered with them, and it is literally the best application you could check. And it basically helps with not just reminders of mental health, but it also allows you to just rest a little bit if you want to take care of yourself, even if it's just like electronically on your phone or a tablet. It kind of like grounds you to a point so that you could be able to like know that you're not alone, and that, if you need anybody to talk to, they also have links that are with resources to be able to assist with any type of mental health issues, or if you need somebody just to talk, they're there. So the fact that, I feel like my channel grew into the aspect of mental wellness because I also did study psychology. So being a kindness ambassador meant the world to me because I've always been interested in the mind. that's something people always say, like, oh, you have to worry about, going to the doctor, going to be checking physically, but mentally is very important. Like, that's something that we all always need to just see if we're okay, if we're feeling all right. That's mostly what controls our entire body. The brain is one of the most strongest muscles. And honestly, being a part of that community was one of the biggest. It was actually my first actual invite to a community that was a part of something that big. So when I was invited and accepted into that community, I couldn't believe it, because making videos about it, talking about the good it does for the world, it really meant a lot. And it made me feel like I had a purpose for my stream as well, because now it falls under the fact that I could be able to share at least a little bit of kindness with the world, at least in my little corner of the internet. So that's exactly why I'm so proud of it. I'm so happy being a part of it. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a really awesome group to be a part of on this
Yes.
platform.
Yes.
So, yeah. All right. And I do notice you love cats. So I have to
Yes.
ask you, how do you incorporate your love of cats into your stream?
Yes. So one of the biggest things, I actually have different types of channel points in my stream. One of them, and one of my favorite ones, is the random kitty lore. So anybody that touches that directly in my channel and just redeems that directly, I just pick a random kitty and I talk about their rescue story. And I try to also have that implemented to raise awareness about cat adoption. Not just cat adoption, adoption in general for animals, specifically here in Puerto Rico, because there is a crisis of animals here, and a lot of them get abandoned. A lot of them just get thrown to the side of a curb, and there's a lot of people that don't really see animals as important here. So I try to use at least, my channel as a safe space to be able to just share awareness for that. And that, means a lot to me, because cats have always been a part of my life since ever. My mother, she's also a veterinarian. And since I was a child, I've been surrounded by animals. And ever since, I've always been around somebody that would always rescue cats, rescue dogs. She's also rescued even horses, sheep.
Oh, wow.
I've been around it since ever. So that's a big thing, a part of my life. Like, I've always felt like, that's something currently I just want to incorporate, because that's been my life since ever. That's all I know. And I feel like that's something that needs to be shared a little bit more, because animals are so innocent, and there's a lot of people that don't treat them that well. So that's at least how I try to incorporate them. I also sometimes just grab them and show them. They come here sometimes randomly and just sit on my lap or go on my desk, and people see them and they're random cameos of them.
Oh, nice. Yep.
But I love it. It's something I love to do, because mixing as well, a lot of love. It's best. Yes, you put a random kitty lure.
Yeah, tell me about a random orange
right
kitty.
here. You want a random? Okay, let me. Eliam, if you want to get one of the random orange kitties, I don't know if they're around. I have one of my orange kitties is actually outside, and
nice.
he actually goes outside to. He thinks he's the owner of the street, but he's one of the ones that we take care of, because he doesn't like being in the house that much. He's older, but I think we have another one. We have Buddha. I think we could get Buddha.
Oh, nice, nice.
One is orange.
Yeah, one is orange.
Well, one's orange. And the other one is albino orange. Well, I have actually... Let me a second. I think I have the albino one right here. Give me a second. Let me see if I can get him here.
Oh, wow.
This is Theo. You could see his orangeness in his face.
Yeah. What's up, Theo?
So, look, see, now he's biting me. He's like, you woke me up. He was napping, by the way, but he is an albino orange cat. You could kind of see, like, even his ears. But what's funny about his random lore is the fact that he 100% is the first boy cat in the house that I adopted. Oh. And his family did not want him, unfortunately. He wants to walk away because he wants to sleep. But he basically was one of the cats my mother, as a veterinarian, she saved, because his family didn't want him just because he was a boy cat. Yep. And that's like one of the sad things about being a veterinarian, when you have to deal with really sad cases like that. He was perfectly healthy. He was perfectly fine. Nothing was wrong with him. They wanted to put him asleep. They wanted to put him to sleep.
Just for being a boy?
Just because of that. Yes, they didn't want him.
Ouch.
And his siblings were all adopted, but because he was the boy, they didn't want him. So
Mm.
it was really sad. And my mom's like, oh my God, he was this baby little puff because he's fluffy. He was literally this tiny little puff ball. And she's like, Shai, do you want this? Do you want this kitty cat? Because I am so angry. She's like, I'm so frustrated. They wanted to put him to sleep and he's perfectly fine. And she's like, do you want to take this cat? And I'm like, but at first I would only just rescue girl cats because at the moment those were the ones that were like easy to maintain and get them fixed. But I was like, you know what? Let me take a boy cat. Let me bring him over. I'm going to take him. He's going to be the first boy cat I'm going to take.
Oh, nice.
And I took him. He is huge. He's lovely. And he's one of the biggest cats in the house. He's still next to me, but he's like, you woke me up.
Also,
He looks like a steel point.
boy kitties tend
like,
to be
yeah.
some of the most affectionate kitties.
Yes. I learned that. Now I have, he was the first boy of the house. Then we got Haku. He's my special needs cat. And he actually, his story is a little bit more sadder than Theo because they were going to put him to sleep. My mom saved him, but it was because he was attacked by a dog.
Ooh.
And he has also a disability now. He can't stand straight. He has balance problems. Like, obviously, the attack gave him some neurological problems. So he falls down and he just bumps into things randomly. And it's because of that attack that he had when he was a kitten. But I took him in. Like, I took him so quick because when I see stories like that, those are the type of stories that people never want to take in. They just want, a baby kitten. They just want a cute little baby kitten. That's normal. But usually cats that do have special needs are the ones that are least taken. Nobody wants them. And I was like, yeah. Well, talking about him, my husband just brought him here.
Oh.
This is Haku.
He's handsome too.
He is beautiful. He knows it. He's like, yeah. It looks like he was napping too. But yeah, he's gray. He's my first gray cat too. I've always wanted a gray cat. So when I was able to adopt him, I was like, oh my God, he's the love of my life. Like, he doesn't even want to look at the camera. He's like,
No. He's like, I want to go back to napping.
Yeah.
Why'd you pick me up? Why'd you pick him? He's our
but he literally. It's funny because
mischief.
he just falls around a lot. But I don't know if he wants to stay here. Do you want to stay here, baby? Yeah, he's staying here. He's just sitting on my lap now.
Those nuggets are so wonderful. True.
They
Wobbly
are.
bundle of mischief.
Yes. They really are. It's funny because nighttime is when the mischief happens. They're just running around, just dropping things all over the house.
Okay.
That's when the partying happens.
All right, and let's just get into it. How did you get into rescuing cats? And then after that, I'll ask you what challenges you face while rescuing. You said 15? When I originally sent out the questions, it was 14, so now you're up to 15?
Yes, and it's because of the cat that's outside.
All right, so tell us your cat rescuing journey.
Yeah, so specifically it all started because of my mom. When she was directly within the clinic, since I was a child, she actually, when we moved over here to Puerto Rico, her main goal when she moved here was to tell me, she wanted to assist the animals on the island because there was a major crisis for the animals here. So when she moved over, that's when she was actually doing a lot of work for adoption here. She was looking for animals on the island, and she would actually assist to take them to the United States so they could find homes. So that was something really big she did. And I always saw that, like, something so important. And I would literally just put her, till this day, I put her on a pedestal for that because that's something that, takes heart to do. And that's what I feel like the way that I was born into that and raised into that. And seeing, animals are literally the most innocent beings in this world that need to be protected. And when I would see specifically cats, the way they were treated on the island, that's what, made me deal, you know what, I'm actually going to do it. I'm actually going to have cats, have them in a safe space. And when I started streaming, I was like, you know what, this is the perfect thing. I'm actually going to set it up and talk about this. It's perfect. And currently with that, I first started with my cat. Her name's Miss Kitty, but she was my first rescue. At that moment, I was still living with my mom, but I'm telling you, I was in high school when I had her, so she's a senior cat. I don't want to bother her though because she usually naps at this time, and Hug wants to go. All right, come down, baby. All right. So she basically is the oldest cat I have. She's like the queen of the house. But yeah, she was one of the first rescues I had. And then when I moved in with my husband, that's when I felt like ever since we even started dating, it was like we were animal lovers. And that's kind of like what got us together, because we would always talk about animals. And he loved the fact that my mom and we would always look for trying to rescue animals and try to like assist the animal crisis on the island a lot. So that was one of the most things that, started that process of me wanting to rescue. So having a husband as well that allows me to do what I love is great, because he helps me constantly for that. He really does. So it's really, really nice. And till this day, every time we try to see something, at least any type of cat that's in distress, or if I see any type of situation in the outside, we try to help. We literally try to help, even though, I have 15, but I literally have a whole area just for my cats. I even made and got a condo. It's literally a cat condo. It was built for them because it is a multi-cat household. So I try to like have everything set so that if they feel too overstimulated for the other cats, they have a place to have their own space and stay calm. You know what I mean? And that's something that I'm proud of, because that condo is, I think it's 5 floors, and it's beautiful. I painted it pink. I made it literally look like a building. And it's in my it's currently where I have in the entrance of my house, and that's like their whole area. So it's literally a whole building for them. Yeah, we smell like cats. So it's literally cats everywhere in this house.
Yep, and then your husband says cats just show up to us at this point.
Yep. The best example for that is the cat that's outside. He's the most orange cat I have, actually. But he goes outside a lot. He just goes outside because you could see he's older. He's also a senior cat, so he's not used to being an indoor cat. So we actually try to bring him in, but he just does not like being more than 3 days inside a house. He's like, no, open the door. And he starts, he goes in the door like, man. He just starts meowing like, open the door. I want to go. I need to go and check the area, because he like owns the whole curb of where I live. But I try not to let him out that much, because I feel like leaving them outside, they're in more danger. I don't like that. But he literally suffers, because I think he's just so used to being outside. He was never adopted. He was never given a home. So he's more used to being outside than being inside. And every time I see him, I grab him. I'm like, you're going inside with me. You're coming inside. You're staying here. We're going to feed you. We bathe him. And after he's all fed and he eats, he wants to leave. He's like, hey, I want to go outside. Let me out right now.
Okay. All right. Can you talk about some of the challenges you have in rescuing cats and having like up to 15 cats at one time?
Yes. So one of the biggest challenges I've ever had is having to try to like maintain the cats in the house. Sometimes, like I did say, they get overstimulated. So there's times that we like need to separate them in different areas of my house, because I have a pretty big house. Like I have huge terrace in the back, huge terrace in the front. The rooms are pretty big. So we have a good space for all of them. So, but one of the biggest challenges I had was that at first. I was like, okay, at first I only had like 10. So I was like, okay, let me try to see how are we going to work this out, because at that time I didn't even have the condo yet. So that was like a big deal for me, because I'm like, I don't want them to be pushed to a point that they feel like, they're going to see each other and they're just going to start fighting, because all the cats, they have their own personalities. They have their own likings. So there's going to be things they're not going to like that another one's doing. So one of the biggest challenges was that we were basically just setting everything up so that they could have spaces where they could like decompress from each other. And that's when I was like, we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to like set something up so that they could be able to have their own spaces, have their own areas. And the second biggest challenge would be when you have a multi-cat household. And this is something till this day I'm still having problems with, is that people see you when they know that you rescue animals. They see you as a place that they could just drop animals on you.
Oi.
And and they're like, oh, because they have animals, I'm just going to throw it on them. And there's been times, even my mother, like I would live it with her when I was living with her. Like I would see it constantly. They would throw animals in boxes in front of her house.
Boy.
just because they didn't want the animals. Yep, it is horrific, and they've done it to us. Literally, one of my cats. She's also a senior cat, which is so sad. She was a senior cat. They abandoned her, threw her outside, and she was in front of my house. A senior cat, something that she obviously doesn't have that many years to live. Just to abandon her, and what hurt me is the fact that she actually was a cat from the indoor, like she was an indoor cat 100%, because when we brought her in, we bathed her, we fed her, I put her in my room, and she automatically started doing bread on the bed. She was like so happy, like, oh my god, thank you, you put me here. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, she was an indoor cat. She till this day has never wanted to go outside, not once. She just stays inside. She chills in my living room all the time. And those are one of the biggest things really that affects me. It hurts, because having to have people just throw animals on you just because they know you have a big heart for them, it hurts. It's really sad.
Yeah,
And it's a constant challenge, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of litter to change. There's a lot of cat food to
Yep.
buy and feed.
Yep. And now how everything is currently prices are going so high with everything, specifically for cat food. We're already doing, like, we're gonna have to like start paying like a subscription so that they could just come to our house, because the places where we go and get our cat food, we go to a specific area and get them at a good price, because it is a multi-cat household. Even there, the prices are going high because of the inflation. So it's challenge. It's a really big challenge, but it's something I love to do, and I try to keep doing it because I feel like there's so many animals that deserve love. You know what I mean? They don't even know part of what's happening most of the time. Like when they're getting, people usually like treat them horrifically. They don't understand when somebody like tries to shoo them away with water or tries to like scare them away. They just think that they're just trying to get hurt. You know what I mean? And that is what gets to me and hits me deep in the heart, because when I see stuff like that, I even cry. Like I get emotional. Like I just love animals so much. It's been something I've been always a part of my entire life.
Okay. And then I assume you work to get some of them rehomed?
Yes. So one of them actually, currently we've actually assisted, but I'm really touchy with that because at least the ones I have, they're mine, and I just talk about their rescue stories. But if there's a cat that somebody's trying to get or they can at the moment, I could foster them. I will foster them. That's all. I've already done that before. And I do have the networking because of my mother, because she knows all of the different organizations that do that from the United States and also on the island. And for example, the biggest issue I'm trying to like push on my stream is that in El Viejo San Juan, that is like the capital of the island. It's also a very touristy area. And there is historical cats that live there for decades. And now there's like a big group of people moving into that area, people with a lot of money, because that's a very touristy area. They want to take those cats out of there. They actually want to take those cats to organizations to put them to sleep. And that's something I've been pushing towards. Yes. And there's been protests about that because those cats are historical. They've been there. They came actually when San Juan as a history started, from the start of Puerto Rico, when they actually set up the city, everything was done. Those cats came from Spain to Puerto Rico. So they're historical. They come from a line of cats that have been here for decades. So having them just taken out from there, they've been a part of that area my entire life. I've known. Every time I try to go visit that area, I always go see them. And their organization is called Save a Gato. And they actually are also accepting donations. They're also trying to assist the cats from Viejo San Juan to have that and have them sent over to the U.S. to be homed, because the situation that's happening there is starting to get a little bit scary, because there's a lot of people wanting them out of there. But they keep the area clean, they keep the area clean out of rats, any pests, and they've always been there. So having to just decide randomly they just want to take them out because a new group of people decided to move there is not okay I feel like that's just not fair.
True.
So yeah.
True. Okay. Well, you're obviously busy with your cat rescuing and
Yes.
doing that, but how do you balance streaming with balancing taking care of your rescued kitties?
Yes. So mostly, and this has taken a little bit of thought actually, because I'm the type of streamer that, depending on how my week looks, I might change my streams, or I might say I'm going to stream this day, but depends on what happens because I have my cats. I would have to, incorporate my schedule and changing of when I could stream. So at first, this was also a really pretty big challenge for me because I was like, all right, me and my husband, it's only me and him. We're the ones that deal with all the cats. And we're basically just constantly watching over them. One of my orange kitties, we actually are currently taking care of him specifically because he has this infection that was when we took him outside. He was actually from the outside. We brought him in, and with medication, thanks with the help from my mother, we were able to cure that off of him. It was like this weird infection he had in his ear. So having to incorporate like situations like that with my stream, at first it was very challenging because usually what I was used to is just dealing with the cats 24/7. But I've had to like start the process with organizing myself and saying, okay, so for this day we're going to stream. This day we're going to put it for, let's say, for example, assisting the kitties, having the cats, and just, dealing a whole cat day. And usually the weekends is for the cats. Like we just set everything up. And then after we take care of all the cats, if there's enough time for a stream, I'll just stream in the nighttime. That's why usually most of the time you're going to see me streaming a little more later than at this time. So that's mostly why, because I've gotten the hang of usually just setting everything up and just taking care of the kitties in the daytime. And then if there's a little bit time at the nighttime, we'll go ahead and just set that up. Because also my husband, he does have a full-time job. So the one that's with the cats mostly 24/7 is me. So that's something that when he comes, we're both just working with the cats and then we set up the streams.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me what is your most heartwarming story involving one of your cats? Probably have a lot.
One of
but
the
if you
yes.
can think of.
To think of it, I could say I actually have two. So the one you just saw, which was Haku, my disability cat, he's the first cat I've taken that's any cat that has an actual disability. So I already did tell you the story about that. He was attacked by dogs, unfortunately. But you saw how beautiful he is. You saw how vibrant and handsome he is. He's grown into a very, very healthy cat. But it was very heartbreaking at the start because when he got attacked by those dogs, he was this big. He was a baby. So having to deal and see him with the wounds he had because he had gotten bit. But I'm going to show you the second heartwarming kitty. The story of cats. This is my cat, Lily. Look at her.
Look at
Her story. She's beautiful. Look at her.
Calico.
Her story is a very wild one because this was when I was living in my first apartment. I found her on a curb of a road next to her mother's corpse because she got hit by a car.
Oh shit.
She was a baby that had just been born. She still had the umbilical cord on her belly. And basically, she didn't even have her eyes open. I was hearing the meows because I would go on bikes. I would just go directly on my bike because I lived really close to my job. So when we were going on, I was just on my bike, riding to work. I started hearing meows and meows and meows. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, that sounds like a baby cat. I'm stopping. And I stopped and she was on a curb in the mud. She was actually getting eaten alive by maggots. They were biting her, and I was able to get in her a box. I grabbed her and I took her to my house. She wants to go on the desk. Okay. But yes, I grabbed her, took her with me and my husband. She had a gaping hole. Let me see if I can show you. She doesn't have it anymore, but yeah, she's really, really healthy. But she had it right here, a gaping hole, where basically all of the maggots were eating her. And we were able to clean the area, have that area completely just taken out so that it could be completely taken for the bacteria. It had a whole bunch of dirt in it. So when she finally opened her eyes, I was, I was the first person she saw because I'm telling you, when we got her, she was with her eyes closed. She was a newborn baby cat.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she was next to her mother's corpse is what broke my heart, because I was like, oh my God, this is horrific. We needed to wean her. We had to basically give her milk every 3 hours because she was a newborn baby cat. It took a lot. And she was one of the hardest rescues, in my opinion, because that was like the first full-on experience I had having to train a cat. I even trained her to go to the litter because she had no idea she was a baby. So we trained her to go to the litter. We first were giving her milk, and then did the transformation into hard food. It was a literal process with her, but she is literally like my daughter, because I think she's the actual first cat that I literally rescued since she was a newborn till now she's 7 years old. So it's a big, she's like one of the most heartwarming stories for me, because again, we were able to save her, and look how beautiful she is. She's so healthy. She's so happy. And those are the type of stories I'm saying that, a lot of those type of things happen a lot on the island. You see a lot of roadkill, and it breaks my heart. I don't like that. And that's why I try to like incorporate cats so much into my streams, because, I want people to know, these animals, they're alive as well. They have feelings. They have their own stories, and I want to share them, even though they can't talk it. I want to be the person to share it. So that's why I always do that. One of my
Wow.
biggest things.
Wow. Okay, so not only are you a busy cat rescuer and streamer, I also saw that you're an aloe bud partner. What is an
Yes.
aloe bud partner, if you could explain? And
Yes.
then
So, yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
how did becoming an aloe bud partner impact your view on self-care?
Yes. So Aloe is also an app it's actually a task app that allows you, kind of like thinking about like co-working, right? But on your
Mm-hmm.
phone or on your tablet. And being an Aloe Bud partner is basically somebody that assists with talking what good does the app do for you. Kind of the same thing like Kinder World, but this one is more for tasks. Allows you to motivate yourself with going forward with things that usually make you not want to go forward in doing in the day. Like, for example, if you brushing your teeth, if you don't feel good mentally and you just don't want to get out from bed, put that in your task, and it would allow you, it basically gives you points and it gives you prizes for, doing the best thing for yourself, and just having these things done. And it is also a mental wellness app. So while you do those tasks and after you do it and you put it in the app, it rewards you. So
Mm.
I also stream, because I am partnered with them. So I also stream twice a month on their channel as a partner. So I actually share all the details, and we talk a lot about the app there as well. And right now it's only for iOS if you guys ever want to check it out. But they're actually receiving donations because they're already starting the beta version for Android. So they're actually receiving donations so they could have that app set also for
Mm.
Android as well. So, and it's really lovely. I like being a part of goodness that could be shared within the world. And when I was asked to be a part of their community, I accepted it so quick, because it does also share the view of how I have with my channel as well. The view of accepting yourself, the view of allowing yourself to learn more about yourself. And at least starting to like understand that sometimes the most basic things could be a task for you. And specifically with mental health, that I feel like that app helps so much. I use it. I have it also on my phone directly, and it does help me, like if I at the moment I don't have the energy for something, and it actually gives you like reminders like, hey, you have this in the task. Whenever you feel ready, you do it. And it's very warming. It's a very warming feeling having to be a part of that type of community, and also be a partner with an app that is so well for a community that really does need it. Because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like mental health is something that needs to be also at least spoken a little bit more about in the gaming community. A lot of people ignore that, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's something that, to be a part of a community like that just brings kindness and mental health as an advocate also is amazing. And I just feel proud to be a part of a community like that. And like I did say, I do stream with them, but it's usually 2 times a month. And what we do is we just play games, we talk about the app there, and we just have fun and be ourselves. That's all that matters, really.
Mm, very nice. Very nice. One thing I did forget to ask you is you do have like a garden aesthetic to your channel.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you explain the garden aesthetic.
Yes. So the idea of the garden itself came directly for what I wanted to do as a community, because anything that is fairy core is based off of forests, any type of garden, any type of actual realness of nature. So I was like, you know what? How cool would it be? Because it will fall under the aesthetic of my channel, but not just that. I also wanted it to also be a part of just having a community that blossoms. I feel like it felt so well. And the fact that everything that's in gaming, everything is just technological. You just see a lot of LED lights and a lot of stuff. But I wanted to incorporate both of those things, nature and also tech. So I felt like that's something you don't see very much, to the point. But I actually wanted to incorporate so it actually looks like a little garden nook. That's why I put these little vines over here. My LED sign also, which is tech, is literally a mushroom, cute little mushrooms. I literally have plants. And all over this entire gaming room, I have it like if it's a little garden. I even have some vines that are like dropping on the window that I put it as decoration. And these same types of vines that I have currently are in different parts of the room as well, because I wanted it to like incorporate it, like this is the garden and my community is part of the garden. So everything that happens, anything that goes forward with the channel, it's the garden blooming. So I just felt that mixing tech and also nature would just fit perfectly for what I felt would be for my channel. So I just loved it. I thought that I'm like, it's perfect. I love this. It fits me.
Yeah, I'm shocked because usually you can have plants or cats, usually not both.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm really touchy. At least with this, I let them when I'm here. But this room is off limits if nobody's in the room.
Oh, okay.
This is the room. Well, at least if I'm here, they're all here. They're actually. I have 2 kitties right there, but they only come here if I'm here, or if my husband's here. But usually the doors is we just close it because we also do have a lot of tech stuff. So kitties could be mischievous.
Absolutely.
And jump and drop stuff.
Absolutely. Okay, I did notice you mentioned that your channel is a safe space for all gamers. How do you ensure that your community stays safe and inclusive?
Yes. So the way that I try to incorporate that with my channel and my streams is that when we're talking about specific aspects, because I've had every type of person come into my chat and talk to me about different things. The way that I try to have that set in my channel is I always listen. I always try to make the people feel seen and understood. Like I've had a couple of people that have been so thankful because we talk about very serious subjects. We talk a lot about mental health in my channel. I try to incorporate that a lot in my streams. And that is something that I want people to understand, that, you know, don't feel like you can't speak yourself just because somebody's live on screen. If you feel safe here, and if you feel safe with your story and you're telling it to me, that's something that means the world to me. And I felt like, you know what, I want to incorporate that. I really do. I want people to feel like they could be themselves and talk to me, and I'm being myself. So that's something that, you know, just being me and having others feel like they could be themselves is something that means the world to me, because not anybody could do that. We usually have masks, you know what I mean? We usually have this type of view, depending on who you speak with. You're gonna, you know, act a certain way because you don't feel safe. And that's exactly why I was like, you know what, here we have no mask. And that's what I want everybody to understand. Like, you could be yourself, you could talk however, and any subject you want. I'm going to listen, I'm going to help you feel seen. And also, if you want to tell your story, anything that you feel great, I'll listen, I'll read it out, I'll talk to you. That's if you feel comfortable about it. And I've done that a couple times. I actually had a couple of conversations on my streams that we go deep into talking about different type of mental disabilities, things that affect us on a day-to-day basis. And A lot of
Mhm.
people have thanked me about that because there's been times that they don't feel they could talk like that to their friends or people that they know. And having somebody listen to them, it makes me want to cry because I feel like, it really, really is a strong feeling because you are allowing somebody to be themselves, and it's so sad that some people don't feel they can because of the people they're around with. And it happens a lot actually. So me being having to allow that and allow people to feel okay with what they're doing and how they're being, that was a big incorporation for me. And till this day, I always say it, like, no matter who wants to come into my stream and just talk, you just want to talk about something serious, if you want to talk about something funny, we're going to do it. And I'm never going to judge anybody. That's not that we don't judge in my channel. That's something big that we do, at least generally. We always go in the person's shoes. That's one of my biggest thoughts on my channel. Always try to understand.
Okay. But you are a gamer, and you do
Yes.
gaming on your channel.
Yes.
What are some of your all-time favorite games?
So one of my all-time favorite games, which is funny because it's currently the one that I'm currently playing, which I said Dying Light.
Okay.
So this is the first time I'm actually streaming it. I've played that game 3 times, different endings, but it was before I even started streaming. But I do incorporate cozy games, but I do play a lot of horror as well. I usually have what is set in my channel as Saturday Scaries. And I just play at night, and we play a scary game. It could be random, or it could just be a story-based game that's in horror. And currently, the one that we're playing right now is Dying Light, and that was one of the favorite games I've ever played as a zombie game, in my opinion, because that game has a lot of incorporation with parkour, and it has a lot of exploration. I'm a big, big fan of exploration games that allow you to be able to just jump on things, go wherever you want, and explore, and just do what you want in the game, not just going directly at just one quest and going to another. That game has a very big map, and it's one of my favorite games ever. Like and I'm happy I'm finally streaming it because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stream it one day, but not right now until I feel like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And we're already starting the story, so next Saturday we're gonna keep on playing that.
Okay. So you do play scary games as well as cozy games and all kinds of games in between.
Yes.
How does your love of fantasy, horror, and RPG games influence the type of streams you do?
Yes. So, for example, when we're playing anything that's based off of fantasy or anything it could be even horror, but I play things that are with horror and fantasy as well. So I usually have specific outfits that are based within the theme of the game.
Oh.
So I do also have little fairy ears that I wear a lot. I also have fairy wings. I didn't wear them today because I actually have to clean them because they're basically the way that they're made. Mm-hmm. They're made of this really, really shiny plastic that makes everything reflect. So they get dirty pretty easy. So I have to constantly clean them and have them in an area that don't get dirty because the dust kind of gets stuck to it a lot. But I do wear my fairy wings, and I do wear a lot of I have actually this cute little hat that's a mushroom, and it fits under that fantasy, so that we're under that view depending on the game. But I do wear a couple of different type of stuff depending on the type of game it is, but I try to fit the aesthetic of the game as well. So that's why I try to incorporate that in the channel too.
Yeah, cosplays and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Cool. Do you prefer playing solo games or do you enjoy multiplayer games? And why?
I do play a lot more. Yeah, I do play a lot more solo games because I like focusing on games that not that many people know about. For example, indie games. I'm a big indie fan. I like playing things that are not, currently in the mainstream. So when I'm playing something, I try to look for something that's currently really interesting that, caught my eye, but is also not very well known. So just to help and put the word out there of that game. And I have played a lot of different indie games, and specifically also horror. For example, one of the ones that got a lot of traction, it's actually on Steam. It's called Unknown Tapes. It's a dinosaur horror game, which is really funny because they were inspired in Dino Crisis. So those type of games are the ones I try to focus on. because a lot of people tend to see the same type of content, and usually I like sharing things that are more interesting and just preserving a specific story, or
Mm-hmm.
actually talking about something that's completely different. I've always been like that. I always like giving chances to different games that are unique, and I've incorporated a lot of indie games. I think I've played more indie games than just general cozy games. There's a lot of cozy and horror indie games I've played mostly. But I think the one that we're playing right now, which is Dying Light, that is more of the mainstream, but because it's an older game, you don't see that much of it. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm going to play this game. I'm going to stream it now because I see a couple people playing it, but not that much. So
Mm.
let's keep it in the track so people could find more about it and see more about it.
Okay. Okay. What was the first game you played that really hooked you into gaming and made you a gamer?
All right, so the first game, Zombie Ate My Neighbor.
Mm. Tell me about.
Zombie, and it's crazy because it's a zombie game. So
I'm not familiar
I
with the
feel like
game.
that.
Can you explain it?
What?
I'm not
I'm
familiar
sorry.
with Zombie Ate My Neighbors.
Yes. So Zombie Ate My Neighbor. That's a really really old SNES game and a Super Nintendo. Oh my god, it's really old. I was like, because I'm 33, so you know this is way back. But this was back in the day when I was like, I played that game when I was like 4. It's a pixel, you know, it's pixel game. Another thing I like to talk about is that the fact I love pixel art a lot, but it's
Mm-hmm.
incorporated because of the old classic type games that I used to play when I was younger. And Zombie Ate My Neighbor is literally just point shoot running around classic. And literally it's just funny. It's more like a zombie game, but to the point it's also like a comedy game. So it
Mm.
actually you're just running around shooting, going to the next map, and it's mostly, you know, it was pretty simple, but it was fun. And that was one of the first games that hooked me into gaming because the one that got that was my father actually.
Oh, nice.
And he found it so funny because he's like, "Oh, yeah, she likes she likes the scary stuff." And yeah, ever since then when I was a kid, I would always play. Then I got into Resident Evil. And like the actual first one. It was like 1998, I think. And I was playing that when I was a kid. And then
Mm.
when I got into I got more into like more Nintendo games. I was first starting just with Nintendo games, but my entire childhood was full of just playing games, and it was SNES is great. It was one of the classic consoles that had me hooked in games first, but that was what really truly got me into it. I was really obsessed with it, and I feel it also was like the seed that grew in me that made me love horror games as well. Because at a really young age, I was like playing those type of games, and I loved it. I would laugh at the stuff that would happen, but that's why also like when I would try to like incorporate, I have like a balance. Like I play cozy games, but then we have the scary stuff too.
Okay, that game sounded familiar and I wanted to check it out, but that is
Yes.
actually in the crowd control library.
Yes. Yep.
So you could actually stream it and have your
Yes.
community help or hurt you.
I would. The thing is, I actually got it. I could also even play it because Nintendo, they did this view of an emulator on the Switch itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, to what I understand, I could still stream it also through the Switch itself.
Mm.
And I actually played it not that long ago with my husband, not on stream, but we were playing it mostly just for the funs and giggles because
Mm.
we both grew in playing that game. We all grew up with that. So like we were like, let's play it, and you can play actually co-op, so it's nice. We both play together at the same time, just killing the zombies, and it was fun. Like the different types of maps, it just makes it interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, we do have it.
Yep. Also, the heart sign activates the blend shapes on my model. So if you do less than 3, makes me have heart
Ooh.
eyes. Yeah.
Ah,
Oh.
that's adorable.
Um. mm. I'll ask you one more gamer question, and
Yes.
then we'll move on to different topics. What is the hardest horror game you've ever played, and how did you handle it?
Ooh. The hardest horror game that I've ever played is Dead Space.
Dead Space. I've heard that one is
Yeah.
pretty scary.
Okay, so the reason why it was so hard for me, because I've played a lot of very scary games, like, but that one got to me. The point is because the actual creatures that come out remind me a lot of spiders. They're like these versions of mixed human spider-like looking creatures, and I have a really bad phobia of spiders. So, good game. Yeah, no, honestly,
Mhm.
like it took me a lot. I didn't even finish it. That's how hard it was for me. Um a lot of people tell me I should stream it because the first time I played it, it was way before I was streaming. So even when I wasn't streaming, I was like, I can't play this game. I can't play this game. It would make me scream. It would freak me out. And but the story is very, very interesting though.
Mm.
The way that it portrays on the changes of when you go deeper into the story, it is amazing. I love it. And on my end, I wasn't able to finish it, but I might give it another chance and stream it in the future. I think I will because a lot of people were saying, "No, Shai, you have to do it. You have to play it. We want to see
Mhm.
you play it." They just want to see me scream. That's it. But I will still do it again because it's fun. I know that they did a remake of it as well. So it's like it has way better graphics because it's a pretty little old game already. I
Yep.
think it came out. Don't remember what year it came out of, but it's been a couple years already, and
Mhm.
they even did a remake for it. So the remake, my husband has it, so I could literally just stream that whenever I want, when I feel comfortable in doing that.
Mm. Okay. Very
Have
nice.
played Dead Space. Yeah.
Hmm. All right.
No, Dead
Let's.
Space honestly was traumatizing for me, really.
Yep. Um. All right.
Oh yeah, he's
Let's.
literally in the chat saying, "Can we convince her?" Oh my god.
Mm, that's tough. That's tough. All right. Let's talk about. Hmm. Let's talk about Puerto Rico.
Yes.
All right. What are some of your fondest memories from living in Puerto Rico? What really do you love about being on the island?
What I love of this island is the fact that we're surrounded by the most beautiful beaches in the world.
Mm.
And the fact that my fondest memory is that I used to surf a lot
Oh.
because I would always go into those. Yes, I would surf a lot when I was in my going to my teens to my 20s. I was into that a lot. I would go. We lived really close to the beach. I used to live in Rincon, and
Hmm.
everybody who ever knows what Rincon is, it's one of the most known places to go surf. They even do competitions from around the world there. So it's very well known, at least in that community. But literally, one of my fondest memories is just being by myself in the water, just being a part of the water, just being myself, and just the relaxation of it. That's something that you nobody could really take
Hmm.
because we're surrounded. This is an island, so there's really beautiful, beautiful beaches, but one of the best ones are on the west side. Like there's also some on the east that are really, really famous. But this island has unmatched beaches. I'm telling you, the fact that they've been in top tens from around the world, it is lovely here. And
Mm.
I always try, me and my husband, when we started dating, actually, we would go a lot to the beach together. So the beach has a lot of fondness with me. Like I feel like I have a lot of good memories there. And if I, let's say, were to just go somewhere else, if I wanted to move anywhere else, I think that's one of the things I'm going to miss the most. I'm not planning to, but if I ever do get to a point that I will, I feel like that's something I'm going to miss a lot because there is a lot of beauty on
Yes.
this island. It is very
Mm.
beautiful.
Very nice. All right. What cultural aspects from Puerto Rico do you incorporate into your streams?
Yes. So I do speak a lot of Spanglish, and we
Spanglish.
talk a lot. Yes, because I do have some of the people in my community. They are from the island as well. So I try to incorporate so that we could all feel at home. I talk English and Spanish, so we just do the Spanglish, and we talk a lot. I feel really comfortable because a lot of the people that are not from the island, they see me talk in Spanish, and they actually love hearing me speak Spanish. And I talk to them
Mm.
about different things, different words. We do mention different types of food and different things that are on the island very well known, and we try to like recommend people with it. that's something I feel like a lot of people are thankful for, because after we do that, they go check it out and they're like, oh my God, I'm actually interested in this. And I feel like that's the best way, just to, let people know about the culture on how beautiful this island is. And I also have this little plaque and talk about like proud of being from Toabaja, Puerto Rico. So, it's one of the biggest incorporations, so people know that I'm here on the island.
Mm, very nice. Very nice. Okay. Um, how did living in Puerto Rico shape your views on community and kindness?
Yes. So the way that I shaped that specifically was, it actually came from me talking about my own problems and talking about, like, speaking about them on stream. It
Mhm.
actually took a lot, because at first I was trying to like talk more about how I was feeling. Let's say for the day I wasn't feeling that well, I usually talk it out on playing games and we just listen to each other's stories. So after I started doing that, I started noticing how, the good feedback it was coming from. Like, I remember one of the times I was actually talking to one of my friends that is also a streamer. They were actually telling me, I feel so good after I'm talking to you on stream. And I feel like in the streaming community, that is needed a lot, because there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people that are just watching the other instead of just, understanding we're all human. So
Mhm.
that's exactly why I wanted to incorporate at least the kindness with my community and having it all enveloped within my channel. So again, like I said, to actually have everything set as viewed for a safe space. Just having some place, viewed, I feel safe here. I could be myself. I could talk about my problems. But it all started because I was actually talking about when I actually was diagnosed with PTSD, because I was diagnosed with it 2 years ago.
Oh wait.
And yeah, it was a big incorporation for me, because I was still processing it. So my
Mm.
way of like being able to process it was talk about it.
Okay.
So I would just keep on going and just talk and say, okay, so yes, the reason why I believe this, affected me so much is because of this. And I would explain, a story that I went through. I've been through many, many different type of traumas through my life. So being open to talk about it helped a lot of people feel they could talk about their problems too. And that's how we ended up having, the view of kindness and understanding with each other within the channel.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Also, Puerto Rico has gone through a lot of hardships between
Oh yeah.
bad weather and not having consistent power. You've probably talked about that.
Yep. Yep. That affects me many, many ways. I live in the north area of the island, so
Hmm.
we do have a lot of issues with the power. There's been times, for example, that I've just been streaming normally and the power just leaves. It affects my streams. It's something that, we've had to get like different types of plugins and things to protect my PC, so that when those specific situations happen, it won't hurt my PC or mess anything up, because it happens so frequently. It is very, very frustrating.
We just got
So,
raided. We just got
woo!
raided by a DJ streamer friend of mine. Check that out.
Yay!
If I
Welcome, Raiders!
welcome. If I remember correctly, this is DJ Hightich. Let me
Yes.
shout them out. I have a alternate DJ channel, the name of DJ Ninja Gato, and I met this DJ. Um,
That is amazing.
yeah,
I'm going to check them out.
this is actually a Japanese DJ
Ooh. Oh, that's amazing,
who
actually. I'm going to check them.
actually um like it's cool because stuff that gets typed in the chat, they have a bot that translates it to English, which I think is pretty
That is
cool.
amazing.
So thank you. Thank you for coming over. Check them out. I appreciate you. Uh, DJ, how are you? How was your stream? Yeah, they're a pretty cool, awesome friend.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm following them. I actually checked out their channel right now.
Yeah. They didn't play a clip. Oh, they doesn't play a clip. I forgot because we're DJs and DJs don't have VODs or clips. They took those away from us, unfortunately. But I appreciate you, DJ Hijich.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you. Thank you for the raid. We'll go check you out next time I'm doing a DJ stream. So yes.
Yes.
All right, have you checked out the DJ category? Have you been hanging out in the DJ category before?
So I'm actually checking him out now because I think it was like a while back, like 2 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
because of TikTok. I've actually seen a lot of DJs that put their music through TikTok, but they also incorporate it when they're live, and they also do like double streaming through Twitch and TikTok live. So that's how I find them. And I've actually followed a couple that were directly having channels here on Twitch, and I'm like, oh, I'm still following them because I find that really, really cool. And it's really, really nice. I don't know. I feel like at least that's a different type of genre that is amazing to be able to start at least a channel. It just brings more, because I love music. I'm a person that I like to try to like look into different types of music, and I'm always open to new music. I always constantly look for new music, new artists, different types of genre. So I was actually looking into that like 2 months ago, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I enjoy my DJ channel. Hey, thank you for the follow.
Yay.
I
Ooh, it's Cookie.
Okay, what's going on? Um, and I met DJ streamers just like Hutch, who just raided us. I can't even say their name properly. I apologize. But they are a
Ooh.
VR chat. They do have a VR chat avatar, and they're a VTuber like me. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you
DJ
for
is
the
so fun.
follow, Alfred. DJ is so fun, Hachi said.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you for get cozy, Hachi. I do interview content, so if you want to get cozy and enjoy the interview, you're more than welcome to. I'm interviewing my friend Pinkfairyblossom, who is a face cam streamer who does gaming and mental wellness and is a cat rescuer.
Yes,
Um,
kitties everywhere.
yeah, lots of kitties. Okay. Next question about living in Puerto Rico. How does your Puerto Rican heritage influence the way you connect with your viewers?
So I feel the way that I connect with my viewers is that I try to find, for example, content creators in the streaming networks that are from the island. For example, that's why I was so thankful for being chosen to be a part of the Latin Twitch Guild,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that was like the best way to like interconnect with so many Latin creators. So when I was invited and I saw, that's why I checked out your stream. I checked out so many other streams. I'm like, no, I'm finding so many people here. This is amazing.
They're so
And
cool.
ever since I've been a part of the guild, a lot of them have come over to my streams, and it's just so nice because, like I did say, I try to incorporate a lot of Spanglish. So when I see somebody Latino, Latina, Latinx, literally a part of it, I'm so,
Yeah,
so
thank
happy.
you
Thank you
for
for the
follow.
follow. Oh, Hachi, thank you for the follow. So like I feel like I'm at home and I could like
Mm-hmm.
speak in any different type of, at least if it's in Spanish, English, they're going to understand me. So having to speak at least that type of specific language, just in Spanglish in general, because that's mostly what I use. I mix a lot of English and Spanish. But generally, I feel like I tried to go forward and find more creators. Like very recently, in my last stream, which was on Valentine's Day, because I did this
Mm-hmm.
big event for Valentine's Day, we rated out to another Puerto Rican streamer, and they had no idea there was an actual community that was a part of, the Latin Guild of Twitch. And I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you should definitely check this out. And they were applying. So their applications opened. So I was
Nice.
like, definitely check this out, which is amazing. And I do try to speak a lot about the Latin Guild a lot, because I feel that they've helped me reach over with a hand of people that also come through the same background as me. So that's something I've always like tried to like incorporate and be able to like have my community a part of, because like I did say, a lot of them don't speak Spanish, but they learn it too. Like when they hear me speak it, or if we talk about specific foods or different things that they don't know about because it's our culture, they look into it and they're like, you know what, I'm going to try to see if I can find that. I'm going to try to see if we could see something else there. So it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, Peachy Bun says, ah, yes.
Yay!
Okay. Well,
A
yes.
little hard
So,
on.
Hachi and the community, if you want to connect the Creator Guild as well as the Latin guilds, all, there's a Black Guild, there's I know the Latin Guild, there's like
Mhm.
the LGBTQIA plus guild. There's a lot
Yes.
of different ways for you guys to connect with different communities, and I highly recommend it. Like Hachi, the DJ, there's a creator club just for DJs, so you could connect with
Hmm.
other DJs within the creator clubs. They just reopened applications, so I recommend that you guys go apply. They open and close them periodically. The
Yes.
reason they do that is they want people to have a good onboarding experience. They don't just want to open the
Exactly.
floodgates and let like 1,000 people come in and nobody
Exactly.
say hi to them, no one
Hmm.
acknowledge them. So they do it in waves. So I encourage you
Yes.
guys to join. Also, there's opportunities. Like I just got uh, alpha access to a video game that I was able to stream last stream. Before that came from Twitch. There's also ways for you to connect with other people. There's also like hashtags and different events that sometimes could help you get onto the front page, which is really helpful to grow your channel. So yeah, join a creator club,
Yes.
join a guild if you can. Okay.
We're a
Um,
big family.
mhm. Um, okay. Now let's talk about this part that everybody loves to talk about, and that's food.
Yes.
What is your favorite part of Puerto Rican food and tradition, and do you share that with your community?
Yes. So the best example I can give you is literally for Christmas, last Christmas,
Hmm.
we were talking about coquito.
What is coqui? What is
Co-
coquito? And describe
coquito
it and
is,
explain it. Yes.
of course, yes. Basically, coquito is basically eggnog, but in my opinion, a better version.
Oh.
It's based off of actually coconut, and it has a lot of cinnamon, a lot of spices. It's a very Christmassy drink here in Puerto Rico, but it is bliss. It is
Mm.
so great. It is so good. And the fact that here in Puerto Rico, specifically in the culture, they make them in different types of batches, not just the general coquito flavor. It's mostly the coquito flavor is just coconut. It's based off of coconut
Mm.
and a lot of condensed milk. But
And rum, apparently, and
yes,
rum.
and rum and alcohol. And specifically, my favorite part is that they make it in different types of flavors. It's not just the general cocoa.
Mm.
They make it with Nutella. They have so many different types of versions that they always sell it all over the island in batches. You see it everywhere. I have friends that they message me, "Hey, my mom is gonna do this huge batch of coquito, $10 a bottle." Everybody's going that. I'm like, "Yes, give me some.
Mm.
Give me some. I'm gonna buy it." And I always have a fresh batch in my refrigerator in Christmas time because that's something huge here. And
Mm-hmm.
currently, I think my favorite one is the pistachio coquito. And it's
Mm-hmm.
literally green, but it tastes so, so good. You taste the little coconut
Hey, what's up,
aftertaste in the
Pixie?
back. Well, thank you for Pixie Me. Thank you for the follow. You taste the cocoa aftertaste. You could taste also the pistachio.
Mm.
They've even done salted caramel. They do so many versions of it. Like you could think of
Mm.
something, they did it. You could imagine anything, they did it.
Yeah, Pixie Meat is another awesome VTuber streamer here on the platform, and I
Ooh, thank
interviewed
you.
Pixie Meat several weeks ago, so she's here checking you out for your interview. So she's been through the
Awesome,
process.
awesome.
But yeah, check out Pixie Meat if you guys can. Um,
Yes. Thank
okay.
you.
What is your all-time favorite Puerto Rican dish and why?
My all-time favorite dish in general. That's a tough one. Oh my God, I gotta
Give me
think
your
about it because
fine
I love
top three. Top three. I'll give you top three though. Tell me your top
top
three.
three. Okay, so
Like
one of
I've
the
never
things I
had
like.
Puerto Rican food,
You
so
haven't? Oh my God,
no.
you have to try it because they have so many different types of different dishes that are just incorporated, and the fact that Puerto Rican dishes come and they stem from also African heritage. It has a lot of
Mm.
Afro Puerto Rican type style. It's just so good. I love it. So the top three, in my opinion. So I love bacalaitos. That's like
Oh,
bacalaitos.
what is that?
They're kind of like a fritter. It's fried, but it's basically a fritter, and it's basically just made as a paste at first, kind of like when you make a pancake, right? But instead, it's kind of like, imagine it, a salty pancake. But they sell it all over the island. There's versions of it that are like huge, the size of your like whole torso, and they sell it to you for like $2. They're crunchy. They're like a really nice salty snack. But mostly they make like a couple like little tiny, they're usually like make them like little pancakes in a dish. And they put it on the side, mostly like with rice, beans, bistec encebollado, which is my favorite también. I love bistec encebollado. And it's kind of like a beefsteak, but the way they make it here on the island, it's just so flavorful. In my opinion, unless you're not eating it from somebody from Puerto Rico in the United States, you won't taste it the same.
Okay. Ficos calls it a codfish fritters.
Codfish fritter. Yep, it's basically
Oh,
a
it's got
fritter.
fish. It's got fish in it. Okay.
Bacalaitos. Yep, it has little pieces of fish, and that's what makes it more salty. And like I did say, it looks like a pancake. It's literally the same color of a pancake, but you can see the spices and the stuff it has inside. A lot of people also incorporate other stuff in it,
Oh, it
but
is
I just like the
codfish.
classic bacalaitos.
Okay. So that's top number one. Okay. Give me two
Yes.
more. Two more of your
Yep,
top
so-
dishes.
Let's see. I'm thinking, oh my god, because I just love. There's so much food that I'm constantly always like obsessing over. But also another fritter, and it's because we mostly here in Puerto Rico, they have a lot of they have a saying, because it's more like a hangout that you just go hang out and you just go always eat, and it's called chinchorreo. Chinchorreo is like a hangout, and you just go hang out. Let's say a Sunday, and you literally go around the island, driving around, eating those type of fritters like bacalaitos. Literally, you could just go arroz con gandules, lechon, and lechon is one of the biggest top things on the island known. Even Anthony Bourdain came here to try it
Lechon?
because, yeah, he came all the way to Puerto Rico just to try, because it's there's an area on the island that is kind of in the state of Guayama. I think it is in Guayama. That's actually where I grew up in, the city of Guayama, when I moved over here to Puerto Rico. And he went to specifically just to try lechon, because they're very famous here on the island. The way that they make it, it has the crispy skin. It's
What is
basically
lechon?
a whole pig. It's a
Okay.
whole pig. People won't like that. Most people won't eat that, but it's a full whole pig, and it's cooked. It's just constantly cooked. It's from hours of cooking, actually, till it gets to a point that it is so crispy, juicy on the inside. I am touchy with that, because on my aspect, like, I could just eat parts of it, but people, they eat the full on pig. That's why it's more cultural than anything. A lot of people don't like that. But they eat the ears. They could eat the legs, like the little meat on the legs. I don't like doing that. I like eating just like the basic parts, like the area of the stomach, or like, the thighs, areas that are like meaty. That's what I would like to eat. That's like my second that I could say. Lechon is just
Lechon,
top
roasted
tier.
pig. Okay.
Yes. And my fave of all is pernil. It's also a version of what would be lechon, but it's cooked longer and it has more spices the way they make it. But that one is it's more viewed as specifically just for Thanksgiving. If people don't want to eat it for like the turkey for Thanksgiving, people do pernil here. And it's also pig, but the way that it's made, the way that it's set, it's hours. It's almost, I think it could be for two days, the cooking process for it, if you want to eat a good pernil. They would be hours
Slow cooked.
cooking it, and it's to a point that it just melts in your mouth. And I've tried a couple pernils that, when somebody didn't take that long cooking it, but when the good ones is because they were hours making that, and they have that marinated with all the spices, all the good stuff. It's amazing. Like you definitely need to try 100% Puerto Rican food, and then you have to tell me what you think.
Yeah, it was only a couple of years ago I had Cuban food for the first time, and I was like, holy
Ooh.
shit. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, Cuban food's amazing.
Yeah, so now
I
I
love
gotta add Puerto Rican. Okay. Those sound very complicated. Are there any traditional Puerto Rican recipes you enjoy making at home?
The best traditional one would be el bistec encebollado with arroz. I don't. Funny thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like rice, but I can't eat beans, and that is something very big here in Puerto Rico. People love beans.
Yep.
And that's like one of the things that I could be honest with you. I can, and it's because I'm a textual person. I like eating different types of texture type foods, and if the texture isn't good for me, I won't touch it. We need a fixer, guys. I'm touchy with beans. That's it. But rice y encebollado. That's my favorite. My favorite, but something that me and my husband currently learned is mofongo. Mofongo, that's also a very, very known dish here in Puerto Rico. What we do is we always eat mofongo with carne frita. A mix of those two is just heaven's bliss, really.
Okay.
Mofongo is mashed plantain with butter and garlic and a lot of different types of herbs and spices. And it's basically, the best way you could see is like if it was mashed potatoes but plantain. It is top tier. Usually a lot of people mix it with seafood as well. That's also seen a lot here on the island, a lot of seafood. But the carne frita is like little chunks of what would be lechon for what I explained. It was just little bites of pig thigh, and what they do is they fry it and they cook it with a lot of herbs and spices, onions, garlic, and it tastes so good. And you just mix it and eat that on the side with mofongo. It is perfect. It is bliss.
I want to say mofongo might have been one of Iron Mouse's top picks.
Oh yeah, yep. It's so good. It's so good. I think that's something I would tell you to try if you were to try specifically anything Puerto Rican. Try bacalaitos and try mofongo with any type. It could be seafood or carne frita. It's just top tier.
Okay. Actually, let's continue that conversation. What are some of the lesser known Puerto Rican dishes you recommend people try? So right now
lesser. Yes, the lesser ones that people know. Let me think.
That I should try.
That you should try. Okay, so guanime, but that's the thing. It's lesser known, so it might be a little hard to find, but I do know there's a lot of I kind of learned tripa. Oh my god. No, but I would literally say guanime. Guanime is basically, it's made out of this type of kind of like what we would make like a pancake, but it's more based off of, they just boil it. And just imagine if it was like, it might sound weird the way I'm saying it to you, but it tastes so good. But it's lesser known because not that many people make it, but it's a very, very known traditional dish here in Puerto Rico. So guanime y bacalao, y con bacalao. So that basically would be, oh, thank you for the follow, a cute fox. It would be basically, those guanimes are plant-based. So it's nothing with meat, but the bacalao is a type of fish that they would make. It's the same fish that they make the cod fritters for bacalaitos. But this time they just cook it, and it's like made, they can make it fried with it, or they can make it kind of like what they say guisado. They kind of like mix it with a lot of herbs and kind of make it into this kind of soupy type concoction. And you mix it with those guanimes, which are plant-based. It is so good. And I think that's one of my, like, I could be honest, I'm telling you, I could keep talking about food because I have so much favorite things of food because I'm a big foodie. I usually, when we're free, me and my husband, and we have like some free time, we try to go around the island and we go to different places. If we find a new restaurant, we try to go and visit it. We try to go see different things. And I'm the perfect person. If you want to find something about food, I'll tell you where to go or what to try.
Okay.
So it would be guanime y bacalao. Guanime con bacalao.
Con bacalao. Okay. Can you describe the role of food in Puerto Rican celebrations and holidays?
Yes. So here in Puerto Rico, it is a big deal. Holidays are a big deal. Specifically, Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's where all the festivities come from. At least here in Puerto Rico, they're known for all the festivities. Everything closes on the island. That's how big it is. for Thanksgiving or Christmas or even before Christmas, when it's like just before the first week of Christmas, they're doing parties. They close streets. They make humongous community parties so people could just be invited and just start eating. And that's where you would try the lechon. That's where you could obviously find the people that are constantly just like selling coquito, or they actually give it to you. They actually gift it to a lot of people. Mostly it's a family thing that they make it. My mother makes it and she always has a batch for me. That's why I say I always have some. But I always try to buy from other people because I like also supporting local shops that also create, or local restaurants that create those types of foods, because it's amazing and people need to keep finding about that. It's really good. But I feel like here in Puerto Rico, they go out on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those are the most that they go out on. And that's where it's like a big deal here in Puerto Rico is family. That's something huge that they look into dealing with. And usually Christmas and Thanksgiving are like the big bash parties that we all fight. We always have to like try to see where we're going, because my family, my husband's family, we're constantly in parties at that time because of that, because they take it so seriously here. They close a lot of stores really early. You won't find anything like any stores open at that moment because that's how serious they take it.
Yep.
Here Christmas lasts for 4 months.
Oh, wow. What's up, Gab? Yeah, we're doing fun. We're having fun interviewing your streamer. But
Yay.
Christmas lasts 4 months. Can you elaborate about that? Like, no joke?
So, yeah, for real. No, it starts. So the festivities start from Thanksgiving. Right after Thanksgiving, Christmas starts. It's not when December hits, it's right after Thanksgiving. So when that happens, there is literally the process of then Christmas, a lot of parties in Christmas. Then the new tradition that would be for Los Tres Reyes is the Three Kings Day. That is a big deal here too. They literally go off on parties with that too. It's kind of be like second Christmas here. So they take it really seriously. There's everything closed on that day as well. Then there's the party of San Sebastian. Here in Puerto Rico, that is a big deal. That is a party kind of viewed as just a festivity of just partying in a street that's in the same place I told you where the kitty cats that are trying to be moved out. But that party, it's literally in a street, and they do it every year. It's called La Calle San Sebastian. It's the street San Sebastian, and that party lasts for an entire weekend. Just partying, drinking. They have vendors there, a lot of people selling all the Puerto Rican type foods, cuisines, drinks. You're gonna find it all like 100%. And that party lasts 4 days. 4 days. And that's at the end of January going to February. So
damn. So it's like that's pre-Christmas, Christmas, after Christmas, and then second Christmas.
Yes. And it's very famous. People come here from around the world to go to that party, the San Sebastian party, because it's fun. And the fact that, you know, you get to just be yourself, you get to see the culture. They have a lot of Puerto Rican music. Puerto Rican actors go there just to party. A lot of people, even people from around the world, celebrities come just to be part of that party because it's very well known. And there's always something that happens in those parties. You know, there's always a crazy person, but it's always somebody that's like that comes to visit. It's like their first party in San Sebastian. So we always know there's always that one person that has experienced the San Sebastian parties for the first time, and it takes them a hold and they lose control. That's how crazy those parties could get.
No, I like it.
Yeah,
it
it's
sounds
fun.
like a fun time. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Oops. I was getting my water refilled.
Water refilled. Nice. Nice. Oh.
Here. Okay.
I'm trying to think where to go from here because I am enjoying the conversation, but we should pivot.
Yes.
To a different topic.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about if you were like in hindsight now that you've been streaming a year. What are your thoughts on the future of streaming, especially in community-driven content?
So the way, at least from my first year, it opened my eyes a lot, actually. Like, I felt like my eyes to what I thought originally streaming was completely different than what I learned what streaming is now. I feel like there is a lot of like process you got to learn to be able to stream. Like, for example, just now, like I learned a couple stuff with you just telling me like what do we do here, like how I could put you on screen, like a lot of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for the applause, Mac. Thank you. That's my brother, by the way.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
he like basically, I try. I at first I thought that it was, yeah. I just press a start streaming button and then I just talk on stream. The fact that I kind of got slapped in the face with reality with that because a lot of people think that that's something that I was actually having this conversation earlier with my husband because I was telling him, I've seen other people that are like, oh, I'm gonna get into streaming, but then you see them, they drop off, like they just stop. But because
Mm-hmm.
streaming isn't for everyone, streaming is
True.
something you need to take seriously. You know what I mean? You have to take and understand many aspects of it, not just the talking and playing portion of it. You also have to know whatever to do with the tech things. If something bad goes wrong, where you got to go here, what you have to do here. And at first, it took me a while to be able to get used to the tech aspect for it because at least I'm thankful, I have my husband, he understands it. But if it was by myself, I would have been going crazy. I would have
Mm-hmm.
been going wild. And I feel like that's the reason why a lot of people, they get into it, but they're like, okay, yeah, I don't think this is for me. But when I started in just my first year, I'm like, okay, you know what? Even though I'm still learning, we're constantly learning as a streamer because I feel like this type of aspect, it is a profession and it's constantly changing. It's
Mm-hmm.
constantly just being, new updates, new things that they're incorporating in the company, at least for Twitch, and just updating at least everything in the page itself. We have to get used to that and try to like read more about it so we can understand it more. So it takes a lot. It really does. And my community has been with me since the start, and that's something that they grew with me watching how this channel has grown. Because I'm telling you, when
Evolved.
I started, I didn't even have a good lighting. Like I'm telling you, when I started, I didn't have good lighting. I just had I have this LED light, which not with good lighting, I look dark. So it's like,
Oh, it
you have to
saturate the
know
filter.
how,
Yep.
yeah, it would
Yep. So too.
exaggerate the colors and make everything look weird. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to learn the lighting, how to process and how things look for me and on the camera. There was so much things I learned and just in 1 year. It's like I feel like I've grown so much just with this.
Mm.
And looking back, it's wild because sometimes some of the clips that come out from when I started, I cringe sometimes because it's like, oh my god, look how I used to look.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good reminder to me though. I don't delete those because I feel like that's like a reminder that's where I was. You know what I mean? We all go through that until you start learning and get better. And here we are, we're actually still here going strong and I feel so welcome in this community. I keep finding amazing creators and people that really like to just do what we're doing. You know what I mean? They like sharing stories, they like playing, talking about games. Then also they have their own agendas on their channels as well, which is amazing because they try to incorporate stuff on their end. Seeing so many different creators is
Mm-hmm.
amazing and it also inspires you, which I just love that aspect of streaming because you see new things, you get inspired by others and I think that's what really kept me going. The inspiration of seeing how good other people are doing and the way that we could be there, we could get there. And that's something I learned. And till this day, I'm really proud of, really.
Mm-hmm. All right. Since you've grown, let's see if you have some secret recipe for me. How do you plan your streams? Do you like keeping things spontaneous, or do you have a set plan?
So I do keep it spontaneous because
Mm-hmm.
of depending. That's why, like what I was saying earlier with my cats, it really depends if something happens, if we're looking into, let's say, if one of my cats needs to be taken to a vet for a moment or we're checking anything, I always put my cat's priority first. So if everything's okay in the day, I'm going to set a stream for that day. But it might change because also the situations we're going through here on the island with the power outages, There's been times I've been streaming, and I'm telling you, this actually happened to me last year. I was streaming. I literally clicked go live. The power left as soon as I hit the button. And I was like, oh my God, this cannot be true. I literally just clicked go live. And
Rip.
it was so frustrating. I was like, okay. And having to deal with that, there's been times that I'm like planning a stream and I'm starting the stream, not even 5 minutes, the power leaves. And that's then when I have to, go and try to change and reschedule the stream because of that. And that's why I keep it spontaneous, because there's a lot of stuff that could happen, like spontaneous things that that are completely out of my control. That, I might say I'm going to stream on this day, but I always say, that's tentative because something might happen. There could be, it's usually just power outages, but mostly because also, if I'm just checking on my cats or if we need to take them anywhere, or just, if anything, currently any type of emergency happens, I like to set that up. But usually when I set up my streams, while I'm already set, there's like a 2-step process I do, is just getting ready, just looking nice, just doing what I need to do. Thinking of an outfit, that's one of the first things, because I feel like the way that you portray yourself as well has a lot to do with how your channel is viewed as well, because you're the face, you know what I mean? So one of the first things I do in the day before streaming is checking what I'm going to do, how my makeup's going to look, how my hair is going to look, if I'm going to be able to be dressed as any type of cosplay or just be my normal self, my little pink self. And while my husband is the one that's just double checking everything tech for me. So those are like the 2 steps. While I'm getting set up, he's over here just checking, verifying to see if nothing is behind, or if there's anything that needs to be updated, or if anything disconnected, because that's just something that we deal a lot with. Like OBS disconnects a lot of stuff. So that's one of the biggest things we always do. We always do a check-in for everything tech before going live, and then we go forward and getting everything ready so that I could, depending on how the stream is and how I feel, I just set everything up and look cute and have at least like a cute little aesthetic depending on the stream.
Your husband says, in a nutshell, for all who don't know, Puerto Rico, the power grid is ran by one single company, corrupt company that runs a monopoly, and this is a core issue, kind of like Shinra.
Yep. It basically is. It's basically a monopoly. We're basically stuck with this one company, and the power outages are all always, their fault. They always have an excuse for it. Oh, we were just messing with the cable here. But it's the fact of how much it happens.
Frequent.
There's even been articles done for this island because of how bad they are. They're constant. They're literally daily. There's times that I'm by myself here at home and I'm just chilling here with my cats, having fun, and then the power just leaves and it doesn't come back for like 12 hours.
Ouch.
And we can't do anything.
Wait, okay. Let's talk a little bit more about this. What's the longest outage you've experienced?
Yes, so the longest outage we've experienced was when Maria, it's the biggest hurricane that hit the island, hit us. Because we are in the Caribbean, so the area that we're specifically on in the map is basically a hurricane highway. So we have actually a season that goes from, it starts in June, I believe. Yes, it's in June and finishes in November. That's hurricane season. So it's a lot of months having to be prepared to not get hit by a hurricane. So when we're in this time, we're really frustrated sometimes because we're in constant vigilance. Because any type of gust of wind, the power leaves. Any type of anything, the power leaves. But the longest time I've been without power was 6 months.
6 months?
And it was because of the hurricane. Yep.
Wait, what?
6 months. Yeah. If you look for Hurricane Maria, you could Google it. You're gonna see the devastation it hit on the island. It was the biggest hurricane. It was a Category 5 hurricane.
Yeah.
That was my first hurricane because I lived in New York. I was raised over there. The biggest one prior to that was Hurricane George. I think that was in 1997, I think. But 2017 was when we got hit with Maria. And it was terrifying. It was my first hurricane, and having to go through that, I was freaking out. There was so much destruction around my house. At least my house was fine, though. But many people lost their homes. People did pass away. Floods happened all over the island. It was a big devastation to the island. It went all over international news because of how big it was. And we were 6 months without power because the same people that are still working with the same power company, they said, oh, because their excuse is that our power grid is based off of what is viewed of the 1950s power grid. And that because that company is so corrupt, they haven't updated any of the cables, anything that is based that should be updated. It hasn't been updated since like the 1960s, 1950s. We're still with the same type of machinery from the 1950s, which is wild to me because we're in 2025. And
75 years old. Yeah, it's going to break down.
And there has been protests about it. People have fought so much about it. We even ended up, there was a big deal that happened in 2019. We actually got one of our governors. We pushed him out of office because he was very corrupt. He had a corruption based within that company that is called Luma, and they were using a lot of the island's tax money for their own personal things. And a chat came out that they were making fun of their own people. Like, it was everywhere, all over the news. And there was big protests, and he ended up quitting. We basically pushed him to quit his, and just resign his own place as a governor. Yeah. So that's how bad. And we're still it's a little better now, but the power outages still keep happening. And those 6 months that I was without power were the worst I've ever, at least, me personally, I've never been through anything like that. And it takes a mental toll because here on the island, it's summer all year. We don't have seasons change. Yep. So we're usually like in the 80s to 90s degrees usually. That's just normal. The coldest sometimes it could get to 60, but it's a tropical island. So, it gets hot here. And when Maria hit us, and that time we were without power, it was like in the it was like August to September to that time. So it was really hot. Usually at that time of the year, it's really hot here. So having to try to sleep with the heat, with no power. A funny story, because it was hot, I ended up, because we lived in an area, that was like my first apartment. So I couldn't sleep. Like, I'm a person that I get I have a lot of problems with sleeping. So if it's like a little bit hot, I won't be able to sleep. So this one night I actually went and I walked out because it was too hot. I went outside to my terrace and I climbed up this, like, we had this wall that had like an area that we would usually chill out and sit and look at the stars. It was really pretty there. It started to rain. I was in the second floor of the apartment, and they were doing construction at that time. So it didn't have any like areas to hold on. If you were like to trip or anything, you couldn't really guard yourself with it. So it started to rain. I had chanclas, literally sandals, and I slipped and fell and I dislocated my leg.
Ouch.
I was 6 months without walking and I had to learn how to walk again, which is a big aspect also that, I talk a lot about that.
Damn. Okay. And then, like, well, with 6 months without power, it's not like you have an option or anything, but
yeah.
Like, what do you do for washing or cooking, or what do you do to survive?
So it was those months with Maria, it was treacherous because me and my husband, we actually had, he's like, oof, because it was a really, really tough situation. So that also was part of the PTSD, one of the traumatic events I went through in my life, because we were given these packs from the military and National Guard, because a lot of people have electric stoves because there was no light, we couldn't cook. So at least, our family, we were gifted like this little tiny stove. It was a gas stove. We were able to cook with that, but it was like a camper stove. It was this little tiny thing. So we were able to cook with that. But most of the meals we were eating there were like MREs, like from the military, things that are like eaten, things that are like out of the side that you wouldn't touch unless you're like obligated to. And we would have to eat that way. We were, I believe, 2 weeks without water too. But we were lucky that before that happened and the water left, we had a whole bunch of canisters full of water. Okay. But it was hard because having to go in the shower expecting the water to just shower you, it wasn't like that. We would have to like bathe with a cup, throwing it on ourselves. And with the heat, it was so mentally draining. It was so like it took so much out to the point like I feel like if I wasn't with my husband by then, I probably would have lost my sanity, because being alone in a situation like that, you need somebody to talk to, because there was nothing. We didn't have power to even entertain ourselves, to do anything, to talk or play games. Like I couldn't even turn on my Switch because it was already dead. Half of the hours when the hurricane came, because the power had left when the hurricane was like had touched the island. Not even like a millisecond. We were without power, without that, like for a while. Yeah, it was a really wild time. But I love me some RREs. Yeah, like I have. We literally got used to it. I already had eaten those before, but we got so used to it because we were like for so long without having to like cook a meal. But that saved us. It saved us, and we went through it. But there was a lot of devastation. You know, a lot of people that were going through that exact same thing we were going through they did not survive that. And to what I believe, the amount of people that died in general or passed away for that event, I think it was 4,400 something people.
That's a lot.
Yep.
That's devastating.
And what's really sad is that the government lied about that number. They were trying to make it seem like it wasn't a big deal. So they were trying to change. Oh no, it's like 1,000 people. No, but the actual number was 4,000 something. So those people that passed, they were trying to hide them. And there was a big corruption scandal when that event was happening literally after Maria hit us. They found out that the government was hiding amounts of bottled water from their people. They had them hidden in these areas that were just abandoned. So they were taking the money for what they were getting to help the people of the island, but they weren't distributing it to nobody.
Everything.
They were just throwing it to
the side. They were hoarding stuff.
Yep. And they took a picture of it I think somebody took a picture from the top. They actually saw it also on Google Maps. And they were able to say, oh yeah, look, you could see it. They're there. And they actually found the area. And there
terrible.
Was multiple areas around the island with those items that were needed for so many people that were just thrown away. It was horrific.
That's terrible.
It was horrible.
That's terrible.
Yep.
And then your husband said, we honestly survived it because we had each other. Without Chaya, yep. I would have lost my sanity.
Yep. I literally feel the same about him because we had each other. Like, I feel like that moment, even though the bad was going on, we were there for each other, and we were literally just we were just sitting down and talk about different life things that we went through. Like, we went so many deep conversations. We would stay outside looking at the stars, just talking and talking and talking. If he wasn't there for me, I probably, like I'm saying, I would have lost my sanity, because being alone in a situation like that takes so much mentally from you.
Yep.
Without water, without food, without energy. Like, you're just so constantly tired, mentally and physically. It takes a lot out of you.
Yep. And then we had a couple chatters talk about the mosquitoes. Like, I know living in a tropical area, you can use fans to kind of protect yourself from the mosquitoes, but when there's no power, you got no fans. You can't stay cool. You can't keep them off you. What?
Yep.
Tell me about the mosquitoes.
So I'm actually allergic to them.
That's even worse.
And when I get bit by them, and it was funny because I don't know, since ever, I've always been a person that I don't know if it's because my blood is like really, really sweet to them. I don't know, but I could be around a group of people and they always go directly to me to bite me. And they're like, oh my God, but why? And I'm like, I have no idea. It's like, they're just attracted to, I don't know if it's because I smell too sweet, because I use a lot of like scented things and I smell really sweet, like strawberries usually, because I wear a lot of stuff like that. But they're constantly always after me. And when I get bit, my bites get really bad. I'm allergic to them. I'm allergic to ant bites. There's a lot of like really, really bad ants here, the really big ones. If you get bit by that, it's horrific too. But mosquitoes, they're my sworn enemies because they're everywhere. They always find a way. At least in my house, like I have screens to be able so that they don't get in. Right now, like my gaming room, I have a window open, but I have a screen. And they still try to get in. As soon as you open the door, they just like try to go inside. And there's been times that they just wait in the front area just to come in. It's horrible. I hate it. But yeah, I try to stay away from them as much as I can. We have like different types of when Maria was happening at that time, I would try my most to not stay outside, but it was very hard because of the heat. So like I said, I would always go to that little area that I would just go and chill out and look at the stars just because I was bored. There was nothing really else to do. So we would just chill there and the mosquitoes would just go biting. But we were at least lucky because we had like ointments to keep them away because that's what we usually just put. But I would have to like obligate myself to constantly put that on almost on a daily basis if I wanted to go outside because they bite me really bad. Like the bites go bad on me. Like they look like I got punched by somebody if I get bit by one. It gets really bad.
Yikes. Okay. And then if you're in an outage for 6+ months, how do you do laundry?
So the way we were doing it is because there were areas that at least the whole island didn't get any energy until 2 weeks. There were areas after the 2 weeks that were able to go forward a little bit, just like here and there areas that were able to like go with generators or already had power. So what we would do is we would just go to these laundromats that would go forward and have allowing people. They were actually doing it for free, which is cool because it was just to help the people that, you know, obviously needed clean clothes. So yeah, it was a crisis. Like it really was a very, very frustrating thing we went through, but we survived it. And I always talk about it because a lot of people don't know like the grand devastation of how big that hit us. Like it was a big hurricane. And the fact that I still remember how those winds sounded and when I would hear things just break off of houses and stuff and you could just hear the banging of everything breaking and falling everywhere, it was really traumatic. I'd never been anything ever like that. It kind of was like almost, I don't know if you've ever seen like Twister or any type of tornado movie. It was just that before like 24 hours.
Damn.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah, Cat 5 is no joke. Your husband says there was a gas crisis. There was gas outages because a lot was for generators. And if you needed gas for your car, it was just 5 to 7 hours in a line.
Yep. And the reason why there was a gas crisis is because a lot of people had generators so that they could stay with the energy on. But they weren't really taking account that a lot of people needed it for their cars. So everybody was just going to the gas stations, taking a whole bunch of gas so they could have it for their generators at the house, so they could turn it on and have power in their house. So the amount of people that had generators was way too, like they weren't expected to even have that many. And it was too much that they weren't allowing, like they were putting just a limit of how much people a day could go to the gas station to be able to do it. And if you were available to do it, you'd be stuck in a line that was 3 to 4 hours long. That's how bad it was.
Okay. And then let's talk like internet or cell phone. How long were you out of cell phone?
Yeah, so at least for cell phone, I had T-Mobile. Well, I still have T-Mobile, but at that time we were actually without any cellular notifications, any signal for over, I believe, a week. It was a week because the devastation was so much. It had broken all the towers, all the cellular towers that were on the island.
Damn.
So a lot of people were not being able to communicate. And that was actually something scary. My family were freaking out because my family is on the west side of the island. I live on the north. So I'm like 3 hours away from them. And when we were without any communication, my family were really scared for me because I live in Toa Baja. And this area when the hurricane hit got flooded very bad. And a lot of people passed away because of the flooding because they weren't expecting that flooding to happen that quick. So they weren't able to warn people. So it actually went through all the streets. It went through homes. And they were scared for me. They're like, okay, we haven't heard from Cheyenne for over a week. They couldn't drive over to me because all of the highways were closed because of the devastation. Yeah, everything was broken. So if they wanted to drive over to see if I was okay, they couldn't do that either. So they had to wait a whole week for us to be able to at least get cellular signal to be able to go and see if I was okay. So funny thing though, they were able to get to see how I was before the cellular signal came back though. They were so scared to see how I was, that they tried their best way to try to get to me, and they did. And they checked up on us, and we cried because I was worried about them too. We wouldn't know anything for days about anybody. So
Yeah, you're in the
the
dark.
only communication we had, yeah, it was through newspaper. That's how we could see what was going on.
Damn, old school communications newspaper.
Yes.
So then your husband says,
Yep.
our parents broke down when they saw us.
Yes, they did. And it was, that's why I say, it was such a traumatic event that a lot of people, we living through that, it's just a different thing. Not even just seeing it on news, it's living through it, having to see and hear everything, having to be afraid about what could happen, and if your family's hurt, having to go through that fear is what really traumatized me, because I was like, wow, this was a lot. Like, I wasn't expecting this to be that bad. And crazy fact, but before Maria hit us, we had already gotten hit by another hurricane before that.
Oh,
It was called
jeez.
Irma. Yeah, so, and that one was in August, so it was like
double whammy.
like a week apart or 2 weeks apart. We first got hit, but that one wasn't that bad, but we still got hit with it. It had a little bit of devastation, but literally a couple weeks after, Maria hit us. And I remember seeing in the news, oh, this hurricane, we're really worried because it's already in category 4 and it might go up to 6.
Oy.
And it went to 6, but when it touched land, it went to 5. It lowered a little bit, but
Thank
it was
goodness.
still very powerful. It was the strongest one that hit the island. So that's how bad it was.
Okay. So you're without comms for at least a week. And then when you got your cell phone, that at least got you back onto the internet.
Yes.
So you could... Okay. And then,
Yeah.
but you said you went 6 months, so was it a process of like charging your cell phone where you could and kind of like rationing it?
Yeah, so we were rationing, but I was pretty lucky because not everybody has the luck of that. But my landlord at the time, she had a generator, so everything that we needed to like just charge, she would like give it to me, and she would just charge it for us so we could stay in contact. So I was really thankful for that, because there were a lot of people that don't have that. They don't have that access. So there were people that were without any type of communication whatsoever for even longer. I was 6 months without light, but there were people that were without power for a year. Okay, a year. Yes, it was wild, and till this day, we're in 2025. There's still people that have still issues with their power, because the company that works with the power that has to fix these things, they fixed it, but not completely. Like, they just did like a really not good job. So those people are still constantly having issues.
That's terrible.
It was till this day in 2025.
So no gaming, like, and then did you have all the cats, or did you have a significant number of cats during the hurricane?
So at that time, we didn't have as much cats as now. We only had, I believe, 4. So because that was in our first apartment. So at the moment, I already had Lily, the one that you saw, the most heartwarming story. I already had her. I had just recently rescued her, so she was a baby when this happened. But I had her. I had Miss Kitty. I had my other cat. Her name's Mika, and we were all together. The fact that we were literally just all cuddled up together. I was watching them the entire time, because usually when stuff like that, I can't. If I know something catastrophic is about to happen, there's people that I don't know how they could sleep through it, but I couldn't. I did not sleep the entire night, and I was just watching my animals the entire night, just checking up on them, seeing how they are. And they were scared. Like, having to deal with animals in a situation like that, it was scary. But I got a lot of support, though. I had friends from the United States send money over, because they knew we had animals, and that the situation with the animals at that time were really, it was tough. It was really bad. So even getting food was hard. So at least I was lucky enough that I had people that would, send me money. Like, hey, if you need money, I'm going to send you this and that so you could be able to get. They would send even products to my house. So like for the cats and stuff, so they could be okay. I'm really grateful for that, because like I said, not everybody has that much support or help to be able to go through something like that.
Wow, that's incredible. Then Fico says, it took me weeks before I could hear from anyone back home. And he says, yeah, places they're having low wattage drops all the way from Maria, and that power company doesn't ever fix it.
Yep.
That
And
sucks.
it's something that they're still there. And you know, I think I'm their biggest freaking hater. Me and my husband are like the biggest haters for them because anytime something happens, they actually have social media accounts. And they always put like a really wild excuse. Oh yeah, something broke a cable. We're working on it. But we know it's a lie because it's just a way that they have controlled so that they don't have to waste money in better equipment. So they just try to fix something, patch it up in a really not good way, and say it was fixed until it gets messed up again. And they just keep with that loop instead of actually fixing the issue. So that's constantly why there's so many power outages every day on the island because they never fix it. They never go to the true issue instead of actually fixing the situation. They just go and just patch it up
Patch
a
it.
little bit and leave. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the American way.
The thing is, I think they were an American company because the island had one that was called La Autoridad de Energía Eléctrica.
like
So
us.
they were moved out, but Luma, they came from California. So yeah. And they still kept on with the same thing that was going forward with the prior company. They're still doing the exact same thing. I think a little bit worse now.
That's terrible. And then your husband says AEE for short. Oof. Oof.
Yep. Those were the
Okay.
ones that were before. Because after Maria, they were taken out, and then they were pushing this company Luma. They're so great. They're gonna fix everything. You guys are not gonna see as much power outages as you guys are, and we're literally seeing more than we had before, which is wild.
Ouch. Ouch. Luma and AE
It's
are
even
basically
worse
the
now.
same thing
Yeah.
rebranded. Shinra 2.0. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, then people like even soldiers hate eating MREs after a while. I'm assuming those got old and don't
Oh yeah.
they eat,
I don't want to see one ever in my life because if I see one, it just gives me like I get flashbacks. It is so bad. Having to eat the really, really bad desserts that like are in packets and powder. It was just bad.
ugh, gross. Gross. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Sorry, I get entranced by your story of 6 months without power and
Yeah.
I wanted more
Yeah,
detail. Sorry.
It's a lot. No, yeah,
Yeah.
no, don't worry. Honestly, like it's a story I'd like to talk about because like I said, like a lot of people don't know like the hardships we had to go through. People heard about the hurricane, but
Mhm.
they don't know how much that whole situation affected the island and the people living in it. And I'm telling you, the time that I fell down and dislocated my ankle, that was in the time I was without power. So having to
You
go
couldn't move.
through that entire the experience of like being hurt like that, they took me in an ambulance. They took me to a hospital that's known. It's like the biggest hospital in Puerto Rico, but it is where they take like the really bad, serious cases to. So when I was there, I stood there for 3 days in that hospital in the hurricane, post-hurricane time. And they had power, but you would see all like I remember I saw people that were in car crashes because they were trying to go see somebody to check if they were okay. And because there was no power, even in just for traffic, people would just crash. The things I saw in that hospital were wild. And then also living through those 6 months without walking, also without power, it was I feel it was like a double whammy for like very traumatic events.
Yep, you're saying that's the source of one of your PTSDs is
Mhm.
living through that. Fuck.
Yep, and having to learn to walk again was a big challenge. Like till this day I still have challenges with it because my because it happened in the time of Maria, my leg didn't heal correctly. I had this humongous cast that was on my leg that's why I couldn't walk, and my muscle had completely dislocated and it hurt to a point that they had to basically push it back into place. So I basically was stuck in bed for that whole time, but when I had to go through the process of learning how to walk again, I didn't have enough physical therapy, because we were still in the time that there was no power. a lot of the offices that did physical therapy were closed. So I didn't get the proper physical therapy for that. So
Yikes.
after I was able to walk again, I still have issues with walking, and I constantly go back to the hospital and go to my doctor to get a check because it didn't heal correctly because of the time when it happened. I wasn't able to
Mm.
go to the correct people. So last August I went to LA actually. Me and my husband went on a trip to California, and one of my biggest like goals where I wanted to do the hike to the Hollywood sign, and it took me a while because walking uphill it does hurt sometimes with
Yep.
my leg. I have to like sometimes sit down and go a little slower than everybody because of what happened with that issue. And I did it either way. That was like a big goal, a bucket list thing that I took out because I was able to do the hike completely, and we got to
Mhm.
the top and we took pictures, and I almost cried because I'm like, I never believed I was actually ever going to do this, and here I am. I could literally go and
Mm.
walk and do the things like something I always wanted to do. The trip I could have gone to. Yeah, my brother is he's hurt because he had school at that time though.
That
And
sucks.
my mom, I wanted to take him, but my mom was like, "No, he has class." But he really didn't. But I'll take him. I'll take him one day. We'll
One
go
day.
back. I need to go back to LA again because I loved it. We actually had a really nice experience over there. It was really lovely. I met a lot of really, really nice people that were also from Mexican descent. They were
Mhm.
so lovely. They made us. We actually went to talking about gato. There's a night market that's called El Gato Night Market over there, and it is amazing. They make authentic Mexican food there, and we had a nice experience. Like we tried real, legit Mexican food, and everybody treated us so lovely there. It
Nice.
was I did a lot of bucket list things in that trip. It was really nice. And one of
Mm.
those were walking up that gigantic mountain, and we did it. It hurt me a little bit, but I did it. I was able to do it.
Okay. Wow. Phew. Okay. Now I
I
gotta
did here.
think how we continue from here. Okay. Well, I'm glad you survived, Maria. Yeah, here in the States, it was yeah, Puerto Rico got double whammied by two
Yep.
different hurricanes. And I do remember it being us being told like 1,000 something.
Yeah.
Uh, like that really sucked. I have community members of Puerto Rican descent.
Hmm.
They were worried for their families. Um, but yeah, like we stopped talking about it within a couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I always like try to bring it up or at least, talk about it because I feel like the people that their lives were taken away in that entire situation deserve to be remembered
Hmm.
because it wasn't fair what was happened to them. Most of the people, like part of that 4,000 something amount of people that actually were a part thanks to the government, they passed away because there were a lot of people that could have gotten the help, but because they took so many of the items that were needed and hid them away from the community and the island, a lot of people passed away. Their children, actual people, senior citizens. It was really sad, and that's why I try to talk a lot about that as well because those people deserve to be known, and they deserve to be at least remembered, even though
Hmm.
it wasn't fair what happened to them, but it's something that was out of our control because the government is so corrupt here. And I do talk really a lot about that here because a lot of people when they see Puerto Rico, they're like, oh, it's a tropical island for vacation, but there's a lot of lore going behind with the government here. Like the
Hmm.
corruption is insane here. It is wild.
Yep. Yep. And you are in American territory,
Mm-hmm.
even though the government doesn't act like it. The U.S. government doesn't act like it. I
Exactly.
mean,
Exactly.
I'm gonna make a comment that's gonna probably ruffle some feathers. But how did you feel about a certain president saying that Canada should be the 51st state?
So what's funny? Um, I'm okay without being I'm okay without. I actually don't want us to be a state because we we are basically put into a lot of really bad situations because we are a U.S. territory. So, being a state, I don't think it would make things better. I think it would actually make things a little worse because of where we are in the map, and we
Geographically.
actually have everything moved over to our island. Like we have it imported. So a lot of the taxes, we're kind of like Hawaii with how much the price is here. A lot of things are very, very, very pricey because they're imported and they have to go first through. There's actually an act that's called the Jones Act. And you could double check it also. It's really interesting. But yes, we basically have to have our own stuff processed first with them and then brought back to us. And then we pay extra for it, which is it's wild. It's like a way that they pushed it around to be able to take more money off of the Puerto Rican people here. But yeah, like that certain president, when Maria had hit us, he was also the president at that time as well.
Oh.
And yeah, and he came to the island to supposedly like help the situation, and all he did was throw toilet paper and say that this island is full of trash, and that basically we're just in so much debt that we're not worth anything, basically. So he didn't have nothing good to say, basically, about this island, and a lot of people got mad. It was very, it was a very, very politically
charged time. Yep.
Yeah, it was really bad. And there were memes about him because, yeah, he just, instead of like giving actual things that people need, he was just giving like toilet paper and just, just cleaning paper itself, just throwing it to the audience. And people made memes out of that because nobody could believe that he actually did that in front of that big audience.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
It was, and I was like, oh god. I kind of knew he was gonna do something like that, but I didn't expect it to be that bad. And I think he even had an argument with one of the mayors of San Juan, which is the capital of Puerto Rico. He had an argument in front of an interviewer. Like there was a journalist there, and they were doing an interview for him, and they started arguing on live TV there. It was wild. It was a wild time, really.
Damn. Yeah, I always feel bad for the U.S. territories because it's like you like you use U.S. dollars. You guys, have English as a culture. You have a lot of cultural aspects that are unified with the U.S., but you're treated as a stepchild that they don't want to acknowledge.
Exactly, and the fact that like a lot of people also like feel the same way. They're like, oh yeah, I prefer for us not to be a part of the United States as a state. We would actually like to be independent because Puerto Rico used to be independent and we were actually thriving. We were really well without having, to be dependent directly on the United States. And after that happened, it was just like a way that they were able to like push to the side a lot of different legal views and laws to be able to like see us as a cash cow, basically.
Yep.
And now, because of all the corruption that happens on this island, there's a big debt. There's a really big, huge debt that is owed, but it has a lot to do with what was going on with all the taxes that are being paid. Also, the government that are taking things that are obviously part of the tax money for the people. And it has a lot of very corrupt history because this is something that has been going on since, I'm telling you, the 1960s, 50s. It's been constant like that, back and forth.
Yikes. Man. Life's hard, but also beautiful there.
Yeah. It's beautiful here. And that's something that, a lot of people come visit it. They see it because it's a really big tourist destination, but there's a lot of gentrification happening as well. They're making more Airbnbs than homes here.
Oh, that's happening.
Which is also a big issue.
They're doing that in the U.S. too. That's not unique to there, but I understand it makes it to where there's not enough housing for people that need housing. Meanwhile, you have this unoccupied space that's only utilized like less than half of the time of the year.
Yep.
Same with in Hungary, Nepe. Damn.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, it's just, I feel like the fact, because this island, it's as an island, it's pretty big, but if you look at it, it's really small in the map.
Yes.
So the amount of Airbnbs that are here, there's more Airbnbs than actual houses to give to people that are actual locals of the island. So that's a big problem that they're still, right now they're still fighting. It's just like what Fico said. NPR just lets them, because there's even people from the island that are doing it. They're actually just living off of that and just having a free amount of a side of an income, and they're okay with that. But then nobody's using it because there's so much Airbnbs that not everybody's going to be in every single one of them. So that space is just empty.
Yikes. So then he says, Ficos is saying U.S. residents that go into business don't get taxed for anything.
Yep.
So how do you...
Yep, and there is...
Yeah, you as a
there's
local...
actually a tax process. Yeah, I'm sorry.
As a local, like, how do you compete with that? You're paying taxes, they're not. What the fuck?
That is so hard because that's something that has been challenging for us, specifically for we have cats, and everything on this island has gone so pricey because everything tax-wise is going up. And if it's going up for us, it's going triple. Like if it's going for the US up, it's going triple for us. So it's something that we have to we try to get used to. Me and my husband, we've actually gone to protests, and it's something that we take very seriously because we're being directly affected with this. Like it's something that, we're trying to get it fixed, but unfortunately not that many people want to be a part of helping that. Because like I did say, a lot of the people that are also benefiting off of that are also, they don't want to have nothing to do with it because they're getting a check, they're getting their own little paycheck with their Airbnbs on the side. So a lot of the people that should be doing something about it and saying, hey, yeah, this is weird that currently a lot of the Puerto Ricans can't even have their own houses. They can't even buy their own homes because of the amount of Airbnbs that are everywhere.
Yep.
They just keep doing it because what they want to do is they want to make this as a tourist destination. Just invite everybody outside and not care about the people that are inside. And that's a big issue that we're currently dealing with right now here on the island. It's really, really serious. And on my end, it's been very challenging, at least with me, at least my husband and me. We actually we have to plan at least every 2 weeks. We do this plan and just see okay, what do we need? What do we got to do? What is something that, is very well needed? Because like I did say, it's like Hawaii 2.0. Things are going so insanely pricey with the inflation from the US. So that means triple or quadruple is for us.
Yep.
And
it's gotta be imported over.
Yeah, and having to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, it's really frustrating because there's even times, because we have everything imported here, even cat food, it's hard to go by. That's why I'm trying to get the subscriptions and having it just mailed directly to me instead of having to go to some place, because there's been times that we've gone to stores and I always buy this very good there's this cat food that actually has a lot of antioxidants for cats. It's actually very good for them. And we usually buy it directly in Costco. But they haven't been bringing it recently because of the issues with the imports. Because there has been many, many protests for the people that work in those ports because they're not getting paid well either. So a lot of the stuff is delayed, or it just doesn't come in time, or people just buy them too quick to the point that it doesn't have enough time for them to restock it again. So that's one of the main issues we've been dealing with, because we can't even get the food we need. So that's why I've been planning on just getting that subscription and having it sent to my house instead of having to just wait, because at least I know I could get the amount that we need for our cats and be safe, instead of being scared that maybe next weekend that we have to go do shopping, we won't be able to get cat food just because of what's happening on the island. It's really, really serious.
Wait, how much do you pay, or have you bought eggs recently, and how much did you pay for eggs?
Oh my God, talking about eggs. We haven't actually, because we usually do our groceries in Costco, and we usually get the big batches of stuff so we can not, have to do any groceries for a while, so we could, have everything stocked well. And last time we actually went...
Hey, thank you for the follow.
After actually the last time we went to Costco, there were no eggs anywhere.
There's a massive recall here?
Yes. Yep,
There's
there was
no
a
eggs.
recall, and we looked everywhere. Nothing. We have a couple of stores really close to my house as well. We checked there. There's no eggs anywhere. Anywhere. So we haven't been able. But I saw on social media, I think it was on Facebook actually. I saw a friend of mine actually posting and saying, "Okay, yeah, they found some eggs, but they were like almost $25.
$25?
Just a little carton." Yes. And she's like, "I'm not getting this. Unfortunately, apparently having eggs is a luxury now."
So on the island, if you can
Yeah.
find eggs, it's going to cost you $25 for a dozen.
Yep. It
Oh,
is. It's
fuck.
the price is too much. It's
It's
too
getting
much.
to the point where people are stealing our chickens. Literally, my mom's chicken was
Yes.
stolen at night. No trace
Yep.
left behind.
Yep. Because my mother, that's my brother, by the way. My
Mhm.
my mother, she like I did, she's always been surrounded by animals. She was a veterinarian, so like she actually has chickens that provide eggs to her, and
Mhm.
I love her chickens, but they've been stealing her chickens. Like they wait until she's not home. They wait until they know that they're sleeping, and they go and steal her chickens. I don't even know how much. I think she only has one now. The other ones, yeah, they've just been taken, and it is really frustrating because she actually gives me when I go visit her, she always gives me like a packet of them, and she's
Mhm.
like, "Okay, here, take it so you could have eggs." and now because of that situation, she doesn't have any at the moment.
Yeah, okay, so I went with, last time I bought eggs for myself, it was $12 for cage-free eggs.
Yeah.
And then if you want like just regular eggs, those were $8.33
Hmm.
a dozen.
See the difference? And
Yeah,
here, and I think they're even
$25.
getting higher because they're nowhere to be found. And if they're found, they're going to be really pricey. And we just haven't bought any. I think this is the most I've ever been without eggs. It's been, I think, Eliam, when was the last time we bought eggs? I don't even remember. It's been a
Mm,
couple weeks. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks that we haven't taken any. We haven't been able to buy any because, again, like at least all the stores that are close to me, none of them have
like a
any.
month ago?
And
Damn.
yeah, and it's been a while. It's been, yeah, like a month ago. It's been a while back.
Okay. What about, like, when's the last time you bought steak?
So we have steak. Yesterday we actually ate some churrasco.
Okay.
My husband cooked it. So yeah, no, we have that. We're fine.
Beef.
But I feel
Good
like
on
mostly
beef.
right now what we're seeing, like the big issue is the eggs.
Fuck. Damn.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's like it's really imbalanced. It really is because it's like for some stuff you can find it, but for like the stuff that are really needed, or if eggs is something like we make so many things, just not just for breakfast, but I like making desserts. I like making things. Eggs are so
They're
useful
almost in
for so
everything.
many things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not being able to use them just because of how much they cost is it's wild. It really
This is wild. That's right. You are a U.S. territory, so you gotta follow USDA, and you have to
Mhm.
have USDA eggs, which have to be shipped, which then adds so much more cost.
Yep.
Fuck. And then
It's frustrating.
any local supplies are either being taxed or literally stolen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And oh my god, and I'm telling you, like my mom, she had I'm telling you, she had like
Yeah, your brother was
more
saying
than
7 at one time?
yeah, we 7. Yeah, she had a big amount of chickens, and they were all, she had them in their little. She even had little houses for them. They were so adorable, but she's like had gotten to the point that's like I guess she's had to like wash them. She put cameras everywhere, everything, because people were going in the backyard and just taking them, because they know, okay, she's not in the house. There were people watching her house.
That's
They're like,
scary.
okay, she's not there. Gonna go and take it, and they would just leave.
That's scary because
It's that bad.
what else is
Mhm.
emboldened to take? Fuck. Damn. Damn. Okay.
It's that bad.
Man. Alright, I gotta think of a creative way to transition back to our streaming. conversation. I just got so entranced. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're like, oh man, eggs.
Eggs. Well,
First
yeah.
thing.
Here I complained before stream started that I was like, okay, I went to a rest. So I do volunteer work, and I
Oh,
stock
nice.
I stock a nonprofit kitchen,
Oh,
and I
nice.
had to go to a rest. It's called Restaurant Depot, but it's a restaurant supply. You know, a wholesaler that sells in bulk for restaurants. And
Oh no.
I went into
Okay.
this giant walk-in fridge where they sell you boxes of eggs. A box of eggs has
Ooh,
15 dozen eggs in it. And when I went
wow.
there, they had just restocked. There was somebody
Hmm.
still like keeping an eye on them because apparently people are trying to steal them. And there was another restaurant
Oh,
owner who was like breaking down like in the freeze or in the fridge, the walk-in fridge, because she's like, they just went up again. They just keep going up and up and up.
oh my God.
Because like yeah, let's say you're a breakfast joint here in the US. Like
Hmm.
that's your go-to is eggs. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
like yeah. Like
That is,
it's
oh my God. And the fact that I feel like, because here, specifically in this house, in this household, we're big egg
mm,
fans. You know, like we literally use eggs for everything. And it's a big deal, like on our end, that we haven't been able to get like any eggs. But it's not even the fact, because also I've learned that, one of the best things to give to cats is the egg yolk and the egg whites without any seasoning or anything. That's really good for cats. So we were, every time we at least would give them, like, at least for my cats, we would like part on some eggs on the side and give them some yolk, because that's very good for them. We've been we haven't been able to give them that either, because like it saddens me, because they expect it and they
mm.
meow at you like, hey, where's the yolk?
Where's my yolk? Those my added
Like, why
flavors.
have you haven't eaten this for like a month? Like, what is your problem?
Damn. Okay, so you guys are still experiencing. Oh, Picos brought a good point up. Your guys' hyperinflation. He said somebody had their plantain tree. Somebody took all their plantains.
What?
Yeah, he says I
Ooh, I
saw
saw a
a
video of
video.
some lady.
Yep,
Yeah.
getting out in traffic and crossing over some dude's plantain tree. Took all their plantains.
Oh my God. That, and she was caught on camera too.
Hey.
That is horrific.
Yeah. But like here in the U.S., any minor crime, even if you have video evidence, the cops don't give a shit. Like
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
worth their
They
time.
don't care.
They don't care. Like
They
they're
don't care.
like
Over here, like, I'm talking about the cops also here. They're really close to the government of Puerto Rico, so there's like a lot of
oh, the
corruption there
cops
too
are
here on the
corrupt
island
too.
with the police.
No.
And yeah, talking about that, like when I was, because I did study psychology in my 20s, and when I was studying, I was in the campground. Unfortunately, the area where I was studying is called La Interamericana of
Mhm.
San Germán. It's the biggest campus in Puerto Rico, and it's famous for it because it's a lot of really important people studied there. So when I was there, though, unfortunately, I didn't know this, but because it's such a big campus, to get from one side to the other, you have to go on a trolley. That's how big it is. You can't
Mm.
just walk there. It would take you a while to get there. So there's a lot of people that still walk, and they just, it's a really pretty place because it has a lot of like bushes, trees. It's literally looks like there's a forest in between it, because it's just with nature. It's really pretty. But the downside about that is because there's known a lot of cases of women being sexually harassed or raped in that
Ouch.
campus.
Ouch.
And yeah, and when I was there, I did not know this until I got a stalker. And it was very horrific because he learned all the hours of my classes. He would follow me. And he knew when I would be alone. So I even caught him one time taking pictures of because at that moment I was living with my mother. So I would just take her car to go to college. And yeah, he literally took a picture of the backside of my mother's car, showing the personal information of the car in the back. I do not know
So
why,
you
but I
to
caught him
recognize
doing
it.
that picture. He's just taking it, and I don't know what he was planning to do with that, but I caught him. I even went to the security of that college. They didn't do nothing about it, because they said that here, at least in the law, the way they said it is that for you to be able to have anything done to somebody, if they're stalking you, is because they have to physically do something to you. They can't, even with the picture, even with evidence. No, you have to. He has to physically do something to
They have
you
to
so they
catch
could be
him
able to.
in the
Yeah.
act type of thing.
Yep. It was, and I just stood frozen with fear because I was like, okay, wait. So yeah, now I have to wait until he hurts me for them to do something. Like that's not okay. And
That's terrible.
it got me so bad. It got me so horrible. Like I went into a bad depression. Like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop because I didn't feel okay. Like I would go to college scared because they really didn't do anything. They were like, well, it's your problem. Unless he does something, we can do nothing. And they just like wash their hands on me. And I'm like, oh yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that. But I ended up leaving, and after that I left that college. That's when I decided, you know what, I'm gonna move to the north side. And that's when I moved in with my husband. At that time we were dating. So I got a job over here, and that's when I started the process of actually having my life in the north area of the island. And I feel like that was a big moment in my life that did I didn't want to leave because I had to, like I did say, my family's in the west side. I didn't want to leave them. I really didn't. But it's also because I couldn't, in that area of the island, it's really hard to find a job. So it was get a good job or just stay with my family. And I wanted to be there for my family as much as I could. So I decided to go. We got our first apartment. I got a good job. And I'm always, no matter what, always trying to help my family economically and trying to always check up on them every time. Like my brother, we're always talking. And they're literally my direct family that I'm constantly speaking with because they're literally my life. So I always try to go because, like I did say, it is like a 3-hour drive to go see them. It's like a road trip to go and be able to see them. But I always try when I can. I go over there and see them. If not, they're just here in the chat with me watching me stream. It's really nice. It's really sweet. But everything, I feel like everything happens for a reason. And me taking that aspect and pushing to move to the north area of the island, it was something that it took a big toll on me because it was like a crossroads: do this or stay, and I'm like, do I want to get better? Like, do I want to like go forward in life and actually, help my family, not just, be there, but economically too, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I did it. And at first I was so sad because I was so used to being with them every day. And I felt really lonely at first. I was like, oh my God, like I miss them. And it's hard because here the transportation on the island is not that great. You have to have a car here. We don't have trains here. We only have one train, and it only goes in the metro area in the north side. And it's just like a little tiny pinch of an area that the train just goes back and forth. That's it.
That's it.
And we used to have a train that would go around the island, but like I said, the government here is really corrupt, and they canceled that out. And we literally had the transportation to be able to go around the island so easily, but they took it out. And now they have that little tiny one there that doesn't do really anything.
Damn, that sucks. That sucks.
But yeah, transportation here is really, it's like you have to have a car. If you don't have a car, you're going to be stuck. They have buses here, but it's mostly in the metro area, north area of the island. Like they only like put the aspect of, because it's a tourist area and it's close to the capital, the whole metro area is just a couple of cities. So the rest of the island really doesn't have transportation unless you have a car. So it's really hard.
Yep, and I don't imagine vehicles are cheap. Because they're imported.
Yep. Nope. Yeah, exactly.
Regardless of what you buy, it's imported.
Yeah. The taxes here just to even get a car. Like I own a car myself, but it took me a while to own a car. I have cars that were used, but I wanted to have a brand new car because used cars, there's always something. You're not paying you're not paying anything monthly, but usually not even monthly, like weekly, there's always something going on with the used car. So I was wasting more money with a used car than an actual new car that I would just pay a monthly fee for. So that's when I was like, you know what, after, I got my job that I was currently in, because I actually quit that job in November, but I was able to get that car. And now we're in this bigger house, which is a lot more better. I love this place. It's a place that also I could have my animals. I don't feel like, because like I did say, here in Puerto Rico, a lot of people don't like animals, but I'm proud that where I live, There's a lot of people that love animals here. Like my
That's
street,
good.
you can see chickens running around. There's a lot of kitties around. We try to feed the outside cats too, just so that they could, have a little bit of love and, a little bit of nourishment as well. There's literally birds all over the place here. A little bit of everything you can find it here. So I love it. It's really nice.
Okay. Okay. Let's go back to some streamer related questions.
Yes.
If you could collab with any streamer, who would it be?
Okay, so I do want to shout out Nimbly.
Nimbly?
She is Nimbly. I'm gonna write it down so you could see. Let me see if I could. Nimbly. Let me write it. Okay, there we go. Yes. So that's how her Twitch name. You can find her on Twitch. So she basically is one of the biggest inspirations for me with the aesthetic of my channel. The biggest. I always loved fairycore, but I never saw another streamer really do anything alike to what I'm doing. She legitimately was the one that brought the inspiration of me wanting to make this little nook. And I think she was one of the first streamers that I actually started to watch. So if I ever were to do any type of collab, I will literally do it with her because I can literally put all of the inspiration I've gotten is thanks to her. And the fact that she's so soft-spoken, she's always such a safe space for so many people. That's something that I saw and I'm like, that's something I would love to do. Like, you don't see that much. You don't see that much in the gaming community. Usually, it's a lot of competition, specifically in the type of games we play. But the fact that she also plays scary stuff, she also plays very cozy things too. She has a good mix of very, very good games and at least of her content. So amazingly, now she actually follows me. She's a sweetheart with me. She messages me sometimes. She also talks to me on Twitter and also on Blue Sky. So I definitely really, really, that would be a dream for me if I were to pick. It would be Nimbly. She is a big inspiration, and I put her on a pedestal really because she's been years doing this actually. Like I said, it's for people to go and do this type, at least be a streamer, you have to stay consistent on it because a lot of people, they go just a year or just 6 months and they drop off because they weren't expecting they were getting the viewers they wanted.
Yep.
But it's the consistency, you know what I mean? And she was the one that actually, I learned a lot from her. So I would just look at her streams and I would ask her questions and she would always answer me. So she's a very sweet person. I totally recommend you to check her out because of the fact of how safe she makes people feel. And even for new streamers, she goes ahead and she gives also advice for them, like what's the best thing you should do if you want a specific aesthetic or if you want to go a certain way in gaming and streaming at the same time. She's very helpful. So I totally recommend her. She would be my dream collab.
Nimbly. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Can you share one thing viewers may not know about you, but would love to hear?
So something that they don't know about me. All right, let's see, because I talk so much. I'm thinking, oh my God. Let's see. Something. All right, so this might turn into a little, because I don't talk about it much because it's also something, I went through. But I did go at the first years before I started streaming, I did go through a very, very serious situation with abuse with a stepfather that lived with us at the moment when I was living with my mother. And I don't talk a lot about it because I don't like spreading information about him that much because it got to a point that it had to go to the court because he was hurting my mother. He was doing a lot of not good things to her. But after that, I feel like when I came out of that whole situation, it really did allow me to have the motivation for being social again. Because when you're going through something like that, you close up like a shell. You don't want to go out. to go through anything. You don't want to do anything. You just want to stay inside because of the PTSD. Like I was but the thing is, I didn't know I had PTSD back then until like 2 years ago. But I was diagnosed with it, and the fact that I don't talk about that much is because we actually there's even I came out in an episode of Haunted Collector. This was back in 2013 because in the city I used to live in, which was Guayama, we actually had a house that a lot of creepy stuff were happening. My mom, she always loved those ghost hunter shows. So she spoke about what was going on in our house then. But at that moment, that man lived there. So that's why I don't talk about it that much. Now many people know about it because he's actually in the episode there. But obviously at that moment, he was, when somebody is a sociopath or when somebody, has a type, they mask themselves in a certain way, right? And in front of other people, they're this very charismatic person. They're really sweet. They're really friendly. And when you meet them, like you don't see what's behind closed doors. So a lot of people saw that and they're like, okay, he's so funny because you could see him, he's joking in the episodes and stuff. But that is why I don't talk about it. Like only people that are like in my circle know about how he was and what I went through. But the good thing, like the good note about that is like I feel like that made me grow as a person because I was able, like I defended my siblings every time anything would happen. I was the one that was constantly watching them because I am the oldest in my family at the moment. Like I'm the oldest sister. So I was very protective of my family. So, I feel like even if that we all went through that as a family, we still prospered off of that. And my mother, she actually, not that many domestic violence victims do that. And that's something I'm so proud of her for that. She got out of it pretty quick. Usually domestic violence victims, they stay and then really bad things happen. And then you see things on the news. And on my end, I feel like I'm so like proud that my mother, she took us first. Like she put us first and she's like, I'm not going to put my kids through this. And that's when we moved because I used to live on the south side of the island. But because of that, we ended up moving to the west side. That's where my grandmother lives. Like all the family from my mother's side, they all live on that end. So we all moved randomly to that side of the island. And that's when we grew to like start to learn again how to be a family again. And that's something that, it's hard sometimes for me to talk about, but I like talking about it because like I did say, I like talking about stuff to create a safe space. You know what I mean? Like we all went through it. And there's even people that tell me, Shai, you should make a book. They're like, yeah, like you should make a book. You should do something because I would read it. You've gone through so many things. And I feel like it's true. If I look back at all the stuff I've been through, it's been a lot. Like I lived in New York. I've moved constantly so much in my life. I've never really stayed more than 10 years in one place. Like it's been like more than 5 years, I think. Yeah, like every like maybe 2 or 5 years I would move somewhere. And it was always constantly moving. So, that takes a lot, as a teenager, as a child, trying to make friends and trying to be, social with people. Then you lose friends because you're moving away. It took a lot. And I was like trying to like not go through anything on my end here. I was like, okay, I'm going to go and try to make friends. Even if it affects me, if I'm never going to speak to these people again, I'm going to try to do it. And I still do it. And thankfully, most of my friends still till this day talk to me. Even if I moved away, they still have contact with me. So that's a good thing. Like, I feel like that's something that, you keep a view of somebody and they want to keep knowing about you for so many years. That's special. And I feel like not that many people, have the lucky saying to say, oh yeah, I have friends from literally when I was a child, we still talk with each other. There's people that have that, they do have it, but not everyone has, a childhood friend that's been more than 20 years. So that's something, talking about like that, if I have to say that, I don't talk a lot about specifically that event, but it's good to talk about it. And, I feel like there's just so much lore. So if I were to talk about it also, I just wouldn't shut up.
Oh boy.
There's
Well,
too much
there
things going
you
on.
have it. There you have it, people that are part of the fairy garden topic for another stream. Oh, hello, Inu. How are you? How are you?
Inu, hi.
Okay, and then let me ask. Let's kind of wrap it up. Let's
Yes.
wrap it up. Let me do 2 more questions.
Yes.
What are the long-term goals for your stream, the community that you're building?
The long-term goals is basically to be able to spread awareness. Like I want to get to a point of my channel that at least what I do and what I try to share with animal adoption, mental health advocacy, to go to bigger heights to a point that, people will know and feel safe wherever I go. Let's say if it gets to a point that I have to go to like another social media, people will go there and be safe and feel okay with me. The goals is, at least for this channel, I just want people to know that this is a safe space and that is also able to help all the animals in the future. Something that I could like be able to say, hey, let me just get to a point that I could like donate to like charity organizations and stuff like that. That's a goal. Like if I get to a point in my channel and I'm able to like if I get enough like income off of it, or if I at least get enough viewage off of it, so I could be able to assist as much animals as possible on the island itself. That's one of my biggest goals. Be able to make like a rescue, or to be able to open some place that would be able to assist animals here on the island. That's my biggest goal.
Hey, thank you for the lurks, Naughty Muse and Inu.
Ooh. Naughty, thank you for the lurk.
Okay, and then let me ask you, what advice for anyone that's looking to become a streamer?
So my advice for any new streamer, anybody that's just thinking of starting, is do it. Do it. What's the worst that can happen? That you just play a game and there's no viewers? As long as you're having fun, as long as you're being yourself, just do it. Do it, because you're gonna find your community no matter what. Like I thought that, I'm telling you, when I started, I thought that it wasn't going to be that good for me. I was like, okay, yeah. Like my friends were like, do it, you could do it. And I'm like, you're just saying that. But it was more insecurity than anything, as soon as I started like opening up about my stories and being myself, because that's the most thing. Just be yourself. Don't try to like, if you see another streamer, try to be exactly like them. They have their own journey. Everybody has their own journey, and you learn through it. And I could have a specific journey, but the other person might have a completely different one than me. And comparing it wouldn't be the same, because like I did say, we both have different stories. So don't like comparing or doing anything like that would be for that. Just do it. Just have fun, be yourself, and don't let anybody, literally, because this is something I learned myself. Because I'm kind of like a people pleaser, but I've had to like learn with myself that I have to like put barriers sometimes. But if somebody puts anything in your chat, or anybody that's trying to like manipulate what you want to do in your stream, say no. Don't feel bad for banning them. Don't feel bad for like telling them there's rules here. Just be yourself and expect the community to come. Like you will find your people, trust me. That's like the biggest advice I could give.
Nice. Okay. All right, and then at this time, I will open it up to anybody in the chat, any gatos or any gardeners, anyone that hangs out in Chai's chat. Do you have any questions for this streamer? And I'll think of a silly question in the meantime. If you could have a superpower, what would that superpower be?
Superpower. Let me see. I'm thinking about it. All right, so, if I had a superpower, I think I would be just directly, I don't know, maybe flying.
Flying?
Because I feel like that would be the best way that I could be able to like transport myself instead of just going with a car on this island. If I want to go, I don't have to worry about gas. I could just fly.
Yeah, teleportation and flying tend to be a popular one. It's travel. Everybody wants to travel and be everywhere.
Yes.
In an instant.
Yes. Let me see something here. Ooh, yeah.
Inu wants to know your favorite thing about streaming.
Ooh, my favorite thing about streaming? All right, so let's see. My favorite thing about streaming would be the fact that I can play games, but also talk about mental wellness at the same time, even if I'm playing something horrific. I could be playing the most horrific thing that could be happening on the stream, but then like because I do have channel points. I do have channel points that also put affirmations and talk about different types of things that would have at least mental wellness and have a little bit of conversation about it. So we could be having something scary and something completely out of the question, but then somebody does the channel point and everything goes. I go back to my just chatting stream really quick and we go deep into talking about something very important, which is mental health. So I feel like that's something I love about streaming. Because it's the balance of different things that I could basically mix. Even if I'm freaking out with a game, we could still go with a subject that's very important and helping many people to just talk about yourself and things that not many people like talking about. That's something, the communication with people. That's something I really love about streaming. Learning how they are, learning what they think, meeting different content creators because I've met so many amazing people. It's lovely. I really love it.
Hey, what's up, the cat dude? Cat dude's another streamer friend of mine. This is Chai,
Ooh.
also known as Pinkfairyblossom, who does cat rescuing and lives
Yes.
in Puerto Rico and streams and is an awesome person. So, all right. Any other questions in the chat? Any other questions?
Yeah, I think we've been.
Yeah, we've been
Ooh.
live for a while. We've been live for a while.
Yeah.
It's probably
Oh, yeah.
longer than normal stream for
We
you.
talked a lot.
If you could go anywhere, no PTO or money concerns, where would you go?
I would go to Japan.
Japan.
And you know the reason why? It's not what most people would go for because a lot of people say Japan, right? But the reason I would go to Japan is actually to go to the gigantic cat island that's there and also the Maneki Niko cat shrine. That is a bucket list item for me since ever because I do have a lot of Maneki Nikos statues all over my house, which is good fortune. It's the little calico kitty that's like this. They have an actual shrine, and it's the actual real area location of where the Maneki Niko legend came from. And those are the main places I would love to go because I recently learned that in that island specifically, which is called Cat Island over there, and it's actually in Japan, there's people that take care of those cats, but they're very elderly, so they're already not being able to. There's not that many people are able to like take care of them. So my dream is actually to go there and be able to like at least volunteer there for a little bit and have just have fun with them and be able to visit all the cat shrines that they have over there in Japan because that's a big deal for me.
Hey, what's up, Mom? Light VR. I'm Ninja Gato. I'm a 3D VTuber in Unreal Engine, and I'm interviewing Pinkfairyblossom, who is a awesome person in Puerto Rico who does cat rescue and cool gaming stuff. And a streamer.
Yay.
So welcome to the channel. So, all right, I think at this time we will transition and we will say bye to YouTube. So it's going to be the same process as before. You guys type HIYT all in caps. It will do the hi YouTube emote. So let's say bye to YouTube. And we'll close up this chapter of the interview. So let me get my stream ending overlay going. Let's do this stream. Where's my stream ending? Stream ending right here. All right. Let me add a stream marker. All right. This has been Pinkfairyblossom, a awesome friend of mine. Make sure you guys. I'm gonna link all the socials below. I am not giving away 5090 smokescreen. Check out her socials. Go hang out with her. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe.